has an ERA under 1 in his last 5 outings. Really remarkable. Here's Aaron Cook's first pitch of the ball game, and Nate McLeod takes ball 1. Really surprising trade. Probably for me, George, the most surprising trade so far in season in 2009 is when the Pirates moved McLeod to Atlanta.
Oh, and I talked to Bobby Cox. He said, we gave up a lot to get him. But he said Jordan Schaefer had a wrist problem. He's been battling it. Probably going to have surgery. Could not come through for him. They needed a center fielder. They needed a guy at the top of the order. Well, they went out and got him. They gave up a lot, but they went out and got him.
And a little comebacker for Aaron. He'll go underhand to Todd Helton. 1 out as McLeod is retired. Let's take a look at the gloves tonight. Carlos Gonzalez in left field. The Rockies are 18-3 when he starts. Dexter Fowler, Brad Hopp joining him. Stewart, Tulowitzki, Barmes, Helton in the infield. Chris Iannetta is catching Aaron Cook. Rockies won 10-4 yesterday, a non-televised game as they swept the Nationals. Therefore, they've won 3 in a row. They are 4-2 so far on this 10-game homestand. Here's Martin Prado. Braves were at Wrigley Field yesterday. They won 4-1. In fact, they took 2 of 3 from the Cubs.
Yesterday's win, a lot of shoddy play in the outfield by the Chicago Cubs. The ball got by the left fielder to the wall, one by the center fielder all the way to the wall. Allowed a couple of those runs to come across.
Prado quickly in a ditch, 0-2. You may have noticed no Chipper Jones in that Atlanta lineup. Chipper did not start yesterday. He has a groin injury, not in the lineup tonight, and he took early batting practice, and according to Bobby Cox, it still didn't feel that good, so Bobby's hoping that he could perhaps play tomorrow, but that is a big omission from the Atlanta lineup. No Larry Jones.
Well, after batting practice, I'd be in the dugout, and he walked by Bobby, and he said, if you want a singles hitter, I could go. One more day, I think I'd be back to full strength again.
That was nasty. Prado makes a left turn. Time to go back to the dugout. 2 gone.
On the Hyundai cam, look at the outside corner pitch just off of the plate, expecting a slider. Just kind of foul that pitch off as you look at the keys to this ballgame tonight, brought to you by Burt Automotive. Second time through the lineup looking at Tommy Hanson. That's usually when you could do a little bit of damage. We had Chipper in there. Chipper's not in the lineup now. So slide Escobar and Anderson in there with McCann. I think those are going to be the guys we'll have to deal with. And of course, anytime Cook's on the mound, the defense will play a role in this, as well as the bullpen late in the game.
Quickly a strike on the longtime Angel Garrett Anderson. And Garrett in his career has competed against the Rockies on 18 occasions, a .361 average with 6 home runs. Most of that damage occurred when he was playing in Southern California. He's just been real solid. He got off to a slow start, and actually hitting below 200 a few weeks in. He's hit above 300 since. That's the average at 274. He's a professional hitter.
Well, he is a professional hitter. I think he's had some rough time trying to adapt to being in Atlanta and being off of the West Coast where he spent his entire career.
And his family's still on the West Coast. A big adjustment, a guy who played so long in one city. Here's the 2-1. And it's fouled off. 2-2. 2 outs, nobody on. Just underway on a beautiful night at Coors Field. And it's not too hot. It's 79 degrees. Yesterday, temperature hit 100 degrees here in downtown Denver. And Cook jumps off the mound. And he's going to tag Garrett Anderson. A very fine start. The sinker was working. A couple of comebackers and a punch out. For Jim Tracy. Let's take a look at the Skipper's lineup tonight on Thursday night at Coors Field in front of the All-Star break. Dexter Fowler will lead things off. Clint Barmes in the 2-hole. Todd Helton against the Braves at .331 career average. Brad Hopp at his .327 average. He'll bat in the cleanup spot. Then Tulowitzki, he's coming on. Ian Stewart will be next. Then Chris Iannetta. Carlos Gonzalez, 4 for his last 7 at the plate, and a good hitting pitcher in Aaron Cook. Fidelity scouting report on a kid who grew up in Tulsa, at least briefly.
Yeah, briefly, you're right. Tulsa, Oklahoma kid, 88-93, went out to California, Riverside, California, junior college. Good sink, good action on his fastball. His curveball can get loopy when he gets under it a little bit, but otherwise a very good pitch, more of a side move or a cutter at 80-83. The change he won't use very often. He really relies on his fastball. Typically has been a very, very good strike throw.
George, what I want to know is Dexter Fowler looked at ball 1. And a ground ball chopped to Kochman fair, and that's an out. How did this kid go in the 22nd round?
Well, great question. I mean, you don't know. I mean, you know, that's maybe you have to go and ask somebody in the front office of the Rockies or the Braves to find out. But 22nd round draft pick, exactly. You wondered about it. Maybe his fastball at that time was 85, 87. I mean, you don't know. They went on potential and projection.
Yeah, because when you talk about potential and projection, you're talking about a guy with a loose arm, at least obviously now, and 6'6". That always projects well.
Well, 222. I mean, it's a big, strong kid. The one thing you look at when he does deliver the baseball, it's a high break. In other words, he breaks his hands about chest high and takes the hand straight back. A little reminiscence of a guy named Mike Moore. Pitched an awful long time, 18 years in the big leagues.
That's in there for a strike. 1-1 on Barmes.
Let's look at this delivery we're talking about as he starts to separate these hands. See, watch up here on top. Everything stays high, breaks high, and then the arm comes straight back forward and straight on through it. But stays right on top of the baseball. They say really works down on the plane.
High fly ball to deep left field. Anderson going back to the wall. He'll make the catch. By a grain, Clint Barmes missed a further jog around the bases.
Drew mentioned he's gone out 4-0, 3 earned run in his last 30 innings. He almost gave up his first earned run here on a high fastball way away from Clint Barmes, a little bit off the end of the bat. This ball may have found the seats here at Coors Field.
2 outs. Todd Helton will take his first look at Tommy Hanson. As George has been talking about, only 1 run allowed in his last 4 outings, and 2 of those outings came against the Red Sox and the red-hot Yankees. Last time I checked, they put pretty formidable lineups out in the field. Todd checks his swing. It's in there. 2-strike count on Helton. A reminder, when the Rockies score 7 or more runs, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. I hope you did it today. And this ball is lifted to center field. Nate McLeod literally did not have to move. So Hanson gives up a couple of balls in the air. No harm done. No score. And for Aaron Cook, he'll face Brian McCann, Yunel Escobar, and Casey Kochman, 4 through 6 in the lineup. Brian McCann is in the midst of his 4th full year in the big leagues. And for 4 straight years, George, he will go to the All-Star game.
Well, a pretty good player. Switch hitter guy that can really catch behind the plate, handles the pitching staff well. Remember, he had Smoltz and Glavine when he first came to the big leagues. And, that was pretty good to get broke in with. He's done a nice job back there.
Here's the 0-1 on McCann. And it is lined down the left field line. McCann hustling around. Here comes Gonzalez's throw. It is almost there. Now Helton's got to back up. And McCann, I think, hurt himself, George, because he should be on third base right now.
Well, I think so. He's going to turn around and let anybody step out of the dugout for the Atlanta Braves. Here comes the trainer out now. As McCann kind of walks around out here, shake it off a little bit. Here's one look at it. You can see a fastball a little bit up out of the strike zone. And when it goes down the left field line, obviously this ball's hit very hard down into that corner. But as he's coming into second base, what Drew's talking about, where he can hurt himself, I don't know if it's the belly flop or the head shot or what it was. Whatever it wasn't good. Wearing glasses now when playing the game.
He had some vision issues earlier this year that put him on the disabled list. So McCann, who's a 300 hitter at second, leading off the inning. Yunel Escobar, who's just a skosh under 300 this year at 292. And he ranks second in the league with a 408 average with runners in scoring position. He lays down a bunt and it goes foul. Yunel Escobar, 31 for 76 when there are runners in scoring position. Something else that gets your attention, right on right, George. He's hitting .323, which is 4th among right-handed hitters in the National League. That misses 1-1. He's hit much better against righties and lefties. Lefties holding him to a .225 average.
Yeah, probably seeing a lot more of them also.
This ball's hit a ton to left center field. Gonzalez going back, still going back, and it is off the wall, and it eludes Fowler. Escobar around second will go to third with a stand-up triple. It's 1-0 Atlanta. The only thing good about that is the ball stayed in the ballpark, because off the bat, that thing looked like it was ticketed for the seats.
Sounded like it was ticketed for the seats, the kind you don't like to hear, particularly if you're a pitcher. For Escobar, it is his first triple of the year. When this ball left the bat, one of the deepest parts of the ballpark, it appeared to be a slider. You can always tell by the sound. And the chase was on as the outfielders got doubled up on this baseball. It ricocheted off and got right between them. It allowed Escobar to get over to third base.
Infield's back, and that pitch inside on Casey Kochman. It's important, George, you pointed out that Yunel Escobar hit a slider, because in Cook's last start, he was good early with his sinker, and then the sinker flattened out, and he gave up a lot of balls in the air. 2-0. But that pitch that was hit there a long way by Escobar was a slider that didn't have enough depth to it. And the double, I thought, was a pretty good pitch.
Well, it's a fastball, but it was up, and it was out over the plate a little bit. Not like Aaron Cook typically will throw. I think that's the reason he was able to shoot it on the line down there. It was not one of his typical hard sinkers out front. Thought it had more of a side move to the baseball.
Kochman, another one of those former Angels like Garrett Anderson. Here's the 2-1. And it's 3-1.
Well, let's look at that pitch on the double. See, you can take another look at this thing. If you draw the line straight across, it's almost bell tie. Now coming back onto the triple. See, this ball starting to slide to get into that angle away from the hitter. And he just slowed it down to the bat speed, and he just jumped on it.
Good pitch. A lot of downward action on that. And it's 3-2.
Very difficult situation for a pitcher with nobody out and a runner at third. You almost have to concede the fact that that run's going to score somehow. Obviously, you're not trying to allow it to score, but it's just hard not to. The Rockies giving it up basically with the infield all the way back.
It's a tough guy to strike out too. And Kochman, just 24 whiffs this year, and he walks him. So the first three have reached here after a perfect first inning by Aaron Cook. And that'll bring up a guy that does strike out a lot in Jeff Francoeur.
Well, at batting practice today, he said something interesting. He said, I can feel the speed coming back in my bat. Now, you know, that tells you that obviously he's suffered through some injuries, and he's trying to get the bat speed back, but he hit the ball pretty well, and that was an early BP. I understand that. Guy throwing 60 miles an hour, not somebody throwing 90 plus, as Aaron Cook is tonight.
Jeff hasn't really been the same player the last year and a half, and over his last 51 games, George, he's hitting just .217. Got good numbers against Cook. And this is chopped to third. Is it hit hard enough for two? Nope. Francoeur runs well. It's an RBI ground out. 2-0 as Yunel Escobar scores. Sinker was too good.
Really was. You're right. I mean, sometimes it happens where you throw that nasty sinker down and in, and then it has so much movement you barely tap the top half of the baseball, and you don't get a lot of speed behind it. By doing that, that allowed Francoeur just to beat the throw coming from Barnes.
Brooks Conrad, a career minor leaguer, second stint in the big leagues. His first stint in the big leagues came last year with the Oakland A's. 29 years of age. I was talking to Greg Norton about him. Norton, a former Rocky, and makes his home still in the Denver metropolitan area. Just came back to the Braves, not activated yet. He's been on the disabled list with an ankle injury, but is traveling again with the team. And he said he got to play with him in Gwinnett County, the AAA affiliate of the Braves. He said he really is a high energy player. He's got pop in his bat. But he enjoyed playing with him. He said, I enjoyed watching him play. And so far, he has done a very nice job with the injury to Kelly Johnson, playing on a regular basis. Hit a home run on this road trip, 5 for 14. And that sounded, maybe not sound like a broken bat, but it's not going to get new wood.
Well, these are the type of guys you cheer for. They spend a lot of time down at the minor league level. Don't give up. They've reached their dream part of the way through their careers where they had their one touch up. That now all of a sudden try to get back up here, take advantage of some opportunities.
That's a fair ball. You got to hustle if you're eyeing that. A tough play. And I'll tell you why that was really tough, George. As you know, the angle, I mean, he couldn't clear himself from the base runner. He just really had to go over the shoulder of the base runner to get it to Helton.
Well, watch how Ionetta's got to come up from behind us. Helton doesn't know whether to go inside or outside. But what Ionetta does do a nice job of, he's going to come out when he gets the baseball. And what Helton's going to do, watch and see what happens. The runner's got to stay here in this line. So what he does is he goes back this way. He throws across to Helton's glove out here in fair territory. And that's what made it a little bit easier for him to be able to make that play. Good play by Ionetta coming out.
So runner at second in Francoeur. Tommy Hanson at the plate, the pitcher. 2 runs in the inning for the Braves.
Pitch count at 30 for Cook. He's thrown 20 strikes.
George, you noticed this when you were facing a pitcher. Hanson's first move, he steps in the bucket a little bit. Is that something you would notice?
Absolutely.
Quickly?
Just stay away from him. You know, don't give anything on the middle half inch because he's going to bail and swing hard. So if you know, the one thing I've always looked at is make sure you don't throw a hanging slider, because I mean obviously you're slowing the ball down to their bat speed unless you're facing a pretty good hitting pitcher. So you always constantly want to keep everything away. And when you get ahead, particularly like this on a 1-2 count, don't run a chance of getting anything back to the middle of the plate. Throw him a snapdragon hook or a slider, get him out of there. The only time you switch back to that fastball is if you got somebody like a Ubaldo at 98. It's a little bit above most normal people's hitting speeds.
It's set up away, and this ball is ripped, but unhelped. Fortunately, Todd was there, grabbed it in the inning. A double, a triple, a couple of runs for Atlanta. Middle of 2-0. .70 road ahead. The Atlanta Braves here over the next 3 ball games. Then it's 3 days off for the All-Star game, unless your last name is Marquis or Hop for the Rockies. And the Rockies will begin the second half post-All-Star break in San Diego, and they'll play 4 against the Padres, who have been struggling throughout most of this year. That's brought to you by E470 and Express Toll, the best way to save time and money. Speaking of Brad Hop, All-Star Brad Hop will step in first to face Tommy Hanson in the second. Rockies trailing by a couple of runs. Outfield, the line shading a little bit toward left center with Hop. They have a semi-shift on in the infield. The third baseman, Prado, is swung over in the hole and almost playing right up the middle is Yunel Escobar. You see it there. And that fastball touches the outside corner.
Well, a good example of what Mr. Hop has done this year more than any other time in his career is the number of hits that he's hit to the left side of the infield. 23 into the infield and outfield. 25 to the right, 40 dead center. Staying behind it and driving it.
And another strike. 1-2. One of the most impressive things about Hanson, according to Bobby Cox, and he has great stuff. They knew that with his minor league numbers, 4th best prospect in all of baseball, rated by Baseball America. It's been his command. This ball is hit hard to left field, but right there is Garrett Anderson. Hop was on the breaking pitch. 1 out. That'll bring up Troy Tulowitzki. And let's take a look at Atlanta defensively. Garrett Anderson in left, Nate McLeod in center, Jeff Francoeur is in right. Prado for Chipper Jones at third base. Escobar and Brooks Conrad up the middle. Casey Kochman has not made an error since being traded to Atlanta late last summer. How about that?
That's amazing. What a great job he's did. Though he's always been known for his defense and swinging to the bat. So Dad, a longtime scout, coaches the Orem team in the Pioneer League that plays against the Rockies team in Casper, Wyoming.
Troy Tulowitzki He says he feels really good at the plate. Looked really good yesterday at the plate. Hit his 14th home run, opposite field shot into the Rockies bullpen. Here's the one-strike pitch, and this ball's hit a ton, but it's going to drift foul down the right field line. Here's the home run from yesterday.
Detweiler on the mound on a ball down and away from him, and that ball yesterday, Drew mentioned 100 degrees, and this ball was smoked into the Rockies' back wall of their bullpen.
Up and in, 1-2. Again, the Rockies won 10-4 yesterday afternoon against the Nationals. They had 10 hits. They also showed that patience at the plate. They had 6 walks, hit 5 doubles yesterday. Lead the National League in doubles with 168. Second in run scores to the Phillies. This ball is chopped foul.
Well, that's the one pitch he likes to use, but at times it can get loopy, and when it does, the concern you have obviously is it hangs into the strike zone. And of course, yesterday, a day game after a night game, guys like Spielborgs have an opportunity to have big days, and he did.
He did a great job staying on that slider, and the Rockies had their first hit, and it's going to run all the way to the wall in left center field. Tulowitzki kicking it in now. He's looking at 3 bags. An easy triple for Troy. And for Tulowitzki, it is his 4th of the year.
Well, much like Escobar, he's able to drive the ball out into left center field. So watch where the pitch is. Slider down and away from him. He goes down and gets it and jerks it out into the outfield. On the Hyundai cam, you can see the pitch being smacked, and then you get to watch him run. As soon as he got out to second base, it wasn't as a matter of looking at Richie Dower as it was heading into third base, well ahead of any throws.
That'll bring up Ian Stewart. Great opportunity for the Rockies to get a run back here. Infield is back for the Braves, naturally, up a couple of runs early in the ball game. And this ball's launched deep right field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Ian Stewart has tied it up. Number 16 for Stewart.
Yeah, he typically hits it. It doesn't take long to get out of the ballpark. That's pretty obvious. Drew mentioned his 16th home run for Stewart. 44 RBIs now for this young left-handed hitter. He just smoked this thing down and away from him on a sinker. Very good low ball hitter. What's impressive is his head never moved. Stayed right on the pitch all the way through it. A line drive out into the Rockies bullpen.
2-2 as Chris Iannetta steps up. Well, I know somebody who is really excited about that home run. George Frazier, Drew Goodman, Summer Barma. Summer, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. This is the far better half of the Rockies' second baseman, Clint Barmas, and more importantly, I'm glad you're doing well. We know Clint's doing well. This is a pop fly to left center field. This could be a problem.
Well, Garrett Anderson, as soon as the ball was hit, started looking around. Where are you, McLeod? Come give me a little help on this.
He wanted some help. How's Wyatt doing, your little one?
He is doing great. I tell you what, he's already picked up a bat and baseball, and he's turning into his dad already.
Funny how that works.
Got rid of the cast. Now he's wide open.
I was going to say, George mentioned he had a little foot injury, ankle injury, and he had to have a cast on it. But he's so young. He's 2, right?
He's almost 2.
He's almost 2. To me, he was oblivious. Watching him run up and down the hallway, I don't think he realized he had a cast on.
Yeah, he didn't even seem like he had one on. He was running around so much and playing ball in the hallways and with Marquis' little boy, and so.
He doesn't have the aerodynamic look yet up top, though, like that. This ball is on the ground to third. Prado's going to come up with it, and Gonzalez is thrown out. 2-run home run for Ian Stewart has tied this ball game at 2 apiece. A no-doubter for Stewart. with Alana Rizzo with tonight's Mike Shaw Auto Update. Alana.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. I had an opportunity to talk to Nate McLouth earlier today. When I ran into him in the hallway, I said, it's so strange to see you in an Atlanta Braves uniform. He's like, it's still pretty strange for me to be wearing one. But he did tell me that the transition to Atlanta from Pittsburgh has been going very well for him. He said the two things I didn't expect, the heat and the traffic in Atlanta. He said, it's not that big of a deal. I only live 5 minutes from Turner Field, but they had to have all of his stuff shipped out because he got traded from Pittsburgh, played the next day for the Atlanta Braves. And he said, so far it's working so well. And I'd say that it's been pretty good for him. He has a 9-game hitting streak currently. Hopefully he'll stop that tonight. Let's go ahead and send it back to Drew, George, and Summer Barma. Summer, if they get too crazy for you, come down here and be with me.
Sounds good.
1-1 is swung on a miss. 1-2.
I'd really like to see that Clint look over the camera well and go, what are you doing in there?
That would be funny. That would be funny. Well, Summers joined us because it is the annual Colorado Rockies Wives Charity Grab Bag event. It goes over 2 days, Friday and Saturday, as in tomorrow and Saturday with the Braves in town. We expect big crowds, and every year you get some goodies with these grab bags. Tell us about it.
Well, this year we have baseballs that we put into brown paper bags. And so it's $40 per bag. And each...
Who's in there? Go ahead. I'm just saying who's in there. Can I cheat?
Yeah, you can cheat.
That's an old turkey sandwich, Fraser.
No, it's not either.
And anyways...
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So it also... there's a little slip in there that tells you which baseball player that has signed the ball. Because sometimes, like my husband's, you can't...
It's a little hard to read.
Yeah, it's a little hard to read. But... anyways,
it's really not fair. You're getting
where does it? Now, $40, and you guys will be situated at every gate.
No, actually, we'll be on the concourse right behind home plate.
Okay.
It's actually section 132. I'll help you out. Yes, right in behind the home plate area. It's been a great success.
Yeah, it's an awesome charity, and all the proceeds are going to the. It's actually the Children's Miracle Network, and all the wives will be wearing their husbands' jerseys. So
you'll be wearing this beautiful
lovely
number 12.
Lovely
number 12.
Yeah.
So, but last year we raised $25,000. And we're looking forward to this year because we've got a great fan base, and to exceed.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Safe
at second.
Nice.
Safe at first. Yeah, Jimmy's going to come out and have to visit with, I think, Paul Nauert at second base. Tough play for Clint to go over and get to the baseball, and then the snap throw over.
Oh, Tulowitzki stayed on the bag. They usually give the neighborhood play, George.
Well, they usually do, but Nauert was right there. He stayed right on top of it. He really did. You're going to see the play come over. Clint's going to get it on a slow roller. Then the underhand flip coming into Tulowitzki. Sailed just a little bit. I thought he had the ball maybe still there in the foot, and then they just outran it to first base. Well, one more look at it. The feed from Clint. I thought his foot dragged right across the top of the bag. Maybe. What do you think, Summer? You go ahead and rip him. It doesn't matter.
Actually, I think it drug right across the bag. So.
I agree with you, but they're calling everybody safe.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So exactly. So Garrett Anderson coming up with 2 on and nobody out. He's another double play candidate. He's going to hit another one right at your hubby. So $25,000 raised last year, and hopefully even more this year. I told you he's going to hit one toward Clint. He may only have one play, though. Great play. As he throws out Anderson. So second and third one out for Brian McCann. It was the toughest out in this Atlanta lineup.
Well, he shot that ball on a high fastball down the left field line earlier in his previous at bat to start their damage back in the second inning.
Summer, this year, if someone buys, I understand, 4 grab bags, they get a bonus bag?
Yeah, in this bonus bag, they actually will receive a 5th ball or bat or helmet of some type. I mean, a helmet, and it will be signed by one of the previous Rockies that we had.
So you could get a
Larry Walker,
maybe.
Walker, Vinny Castilla.
So spend $200, you get one free.
Yeah.
You might get a Walker, Castilla,
and who wouldn't want a Walker ball, right?
Yeah,
or Vinny Castilla.
That's right. Yeah. That's pretty neat. Well, I know last year, it's such great success, they had to do it again, I think, the following weekend or a couple of weeks down the road so the guys could sign all the balls because they just sold out. They sold out quickly.
That's outside 2-0. Each player, by the way, on the Rockies' current roster signed 24 baseballs. So you're going to get somebody good. You get somebody you like. Friday, the sales start at 5:30. Saturday at 4:30 because it's Saturday's a 6 o'clock game.
Yep.
That's fouled off. Now we ask when the wives come up annually, Summer, because you're here all the time. We've gotten to know you over the last few years.
Yeah.
But is it hard for you to watch your husband play, Dan? Do you get nervous every time he comes up? I mean, he comes up 500 and some odd times. Do you get nervous every time?
You know, I do get a little nervous, but Clint and I, every day before he goes to the ballpark, we pray together. And so I've got my true faith and trust in God.
There you go.
So.
Well, he's doing super, and I know I speak for George on this. He is just missed, ball four. So now the bases are loaded for Yunel Escobar. He is one of our all-time favorites because Clint is like George used to describe his old teammate Lou Brock, the Hall of Famer, like this, and do it on camera here, straight across, never too high, never too low, and that's your husband. And he is always very, very pleasant. He's a great guy.
He's just, you know, I tell everybody he's just even kill all the time. At home, he's the same way. You know, he just is always the exact same. What you see is what you get with Clint.
Yeah, could not be happier for his success. All right, now we need a double play ball off the bat of Yunel Escobar. Bases loaded, 1 out. Super sinker, George. There it is. There's one. There's two. How about that?
Yeah.
Who started that double play? Summer, nice job.
Yep. Good job, Tulo and Helton there, too.
Yeah, that was super. No damage done. Thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Started by Clint Barmas last inning. This date in history brought to you by Dex. Dex knows. July the 9th, 2005. After 11 years, Coors Field finally has a 1-0 game as the Rockies escape a bases-loaded situation in the 9th to edge the Padres. The span of 847 regular season games, the longest time ever needed for any big league park to host a 1-0 contest. Here's Aaron Cook. And now, over the last 5 seasons, the Rockies have hosted 8 1-0 games, which is 4th in baseball.
That's wild.
Isn't that wild? That's also in their 0-2. Also on this date, 6 years ago. Maybe as important. Randall Simon inadvertently clubbed the sausage on their
he didn't
fifth
inadvertently
inning
say
race.
anything. What do you mean inadvertently? How can you say that?
I'm trying to.
No, how can you say that?
I said
he reached across as they ran and hit him with a bat.
Okay, let me change that.
There was nothing
allegedly inadvertently.
There's no alleged. There's no inadvertent. He did it. All right. Hey, how about this double play to end the inning? Man, oh man, was this a good turn? Because Varmus has got to go to the first base side. Spin. Now it's got to have something on it, and a good feed to Tulowitzki right over the bag, and then on the move, able to throw out Escobar, and they get out of this thing without any damage.
Breaking ball low to Dexter Fowler. Dexter grounded out to the first baseman Casey Kochman back in the first.
Not a bad idea. Fake bunt, draw into corners. Back to it again. Fastball for a strike at 92. A lot of times you'll try to draw the corners in with that first fake and then swing away on the second pitch.
Phrase yesterday, Dexter was 2 for 3. Scored a couple runs. Also had his 19th double of the year. And the reason I emphasize the explanation of the 19th double is that it is now a new Rockies rookie record already before the All-Star break. The previous record he shared with Matt Holliday, 18 doubles as a rookie. You know, he's on pace to be in that high 30s, maybe 40 doubles.
He could, obviously, with his speed. Any balls down the line, even blue pits out into the gap area, he just outrun the baseball.
He also had a stolen base yesterday, his 17th. This ball pulled in the hole. So with one out, Fowler's aboard. You come to the ball games or you're watching out on television, watch how Dexter tears around first base on a single. It is the right way to do it. If there's any bobble, he's at second base. Firestone league leaders, highest elevation, Coors Field. And then people don't realize this. Atlanta, Georgia, excuse me, is third because Chase Field now in Arizona is second. But Atlanta, until the Diamondbacks went to Phoenix, they were always second, and people would be scratching their head. You mean Atlanta, Georgia, second highest elevation? Actually, it was the highest elevation for a long time till 1993.
Hansen's a guy that doesn't have a very quick move to the plate. So when he uses the slide step, he gives up velocity and location of the fastball. So typically, he's around the 1.4 to 1.45 range. Get a base stolen on him. Very good move to first. If he gets away from the slide step, he'd been as high as 1.6 to the plate in his first start. Drew's got the watch out. We'll find out in a minute. McCann's throwing out 27% of would-be base stealer.
That was 1-1-6 there.
Yep. Slide step to the plate. Speeding his delivery up. What I mean by a slide step, folks, in other words, he's just kind of picking the leg up about 2 to 3 inches and then just sliding to the plate. Watch that front side. It doesn't get picked up very high. It's just more of a drop, step, and go. Slider at 82 miles an hour for a strike. That's what we're talking about with the leg. See, it's not going to come up high at all. Then just right out of the glove and go. So that's pretty quick to the plate. Makes it hard on a base stealer. A lot of young kids, though, they just don't have the deception to be able to go and mix it up enough. Sometimes they'll lose velocity off of the pitch. Hang a slider because they get too quick. Don't get the hand out of the glove quick enough. Get on top of the pitch.
Did you mix it up, George? Slide step, no slide step?
I just had a quick kick up and down. I didn't mix it up. Quick kick up and down and go over there. I figured I kind of have a different philosophy on this. It's obviously you need to throw out base stealers. But if you sacrifice the result at home plate just to be quick, then it defeats its purpose. If you're going to throw a fastball that's a gut shot, they hit 10,000 miles.
Fowler is out.
I'll tell you what, I wish you'd had a clock on McCann that time. I guarantee it was about 1.8. That was unbelievable, and it was right on the money. I'm not sure Dexter was out, but still, this is unbelievable. Fastball in. That was, yep, he was out, going right on the money. Here it comes on the Hyundai cam. See if the foot gets in there before the tag applies. Nope, it doesn't. I mean, it's a good call by Paul Nauer. With a weapon like that behind the plate, you'll realize how much easier it makes for you as a pitcher. to be able to do just that. And if you give up those hits, speedster, throw the guy out.
He is the complete package, Ryan McCann. He's a tremendous offensive player. Good defensively. 2-2 on Barmes. Outside. Now let's get a time on it, George. This is real speed. Look at that.
178. You're getting into that Pudge range. Meaning Pudge Rodriguez was 1.7, 1.75. Be at 1.78. That's nasty.
2 strikeouts in the inning for Hansen. Dexter Fowler, after a base hit, was erased by Brian McCann. 2-2 ball game. Will go to the 4th. As in the 4th inning, Casey Kochman, Jeff Francoeur, and Brooks Conrad will be the threesome that Aaron Cook will face. Dexter Fowler is the subject of our Affleck trivia question. He tied the Rockies' record for steals by a rookie yesterday with his 17th. Whose record did he tie? Kochman walked his first time up, and he takes that pitch out of the strike zone. Ball 1. Good sinker. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Braves entered the contest hitting .260, which is tied for 5th best in the National League. 2-1.
5,000 of the luckiest people to walk through the gates on July 10th. That's tomorrow. Don't forget about that. They get a Brad Hop t-shirt brought to you by FSN Rocky Mountain. Purchase your tickets for those ball games.
Down the left field line, Gonzalez will get to it and he'll hold Kochman to a single.
They've done a nice job going to the opposite field with Aaron Cook. They haven't tried to pull that hard sinker when it's down and away from him.
Good approach.
Well, because of the way the Rockies have set things up defensively, they're really bunching on the corner. See, once again, though, look at the height of the pitch. That's high for Cook's sinker. Typically, it's down about another 4 inches, which creates a ground ball versus that line shot. And defensively, the way the Rockies set things up now in the infield, they really bunch at third base, try to tighten things up. And that's hard to tell now because Helton's got to hold the guy on at first base.
George's got to hold the guy on and also shade the sun. It's that time of day where that sun is right at first base. Big swing and a miss, Jeff Francoeur.
Well, right before the hit defensively, you can see how the Rockies had this thing set up. Helton's well off the line, so is Stewart. So they shot the ball down the left field line. Bunch in the middle. Getting a lot of ground ball outs. It's been a while since we've seen Tulowitzki go into the hole and do that jump throw.
This is toward right center field. Fowler's not going to be able to get there. And now he plays chase. Francoeur runs well. The lead runner, Kochman, gets a green light. Here's the throw to the plate. It's cut off by Helton. And Jeff Francoeur with an RBI double to make it 3-2 Atlanta. With a slumping Francoeur, his second RBI of the ball game, 35th of the year.
Let's look at the pitch and see what it is. Fastball that just ran back to the middle of the plate versus staying in. And quite honestly, I think Dexter didn't think this ball was hit that well because of the route he took onto the ball. He came in, went across, and then went back again. See, coming in this way, then he has to angle back to go get the baseball. By then, it would hit and already got to the wall on him.
I think by that route, he was hoping to be able to get there, and even if he had to lay out trying to make a catch, but that ball had tail on it off the right-hander's bat.
Well, tail and carry, too, because I think he's short on the ball. The route he took was in, and that ball carried farther than he anticipated, too. With the fade off of the right-hander's bat, that helps it get away from him even farther.
Brooks Conrad hit a little squib out in front of the plate, handled by Chris Iannetta. Nobody out, runner at second. And a pop-up left side, so no advancement here. Conrad unable to move Francoeur. Tonight's high-speed pitch is brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet. Tommy Hansen's hit 95. Aaron Cook has hit 93. Aaron making his 157th start in a Rockies uniform. That breaks the all-time mark he shared with Jason Jennings, who had 156 starts as a Rocky. Jamie Wright third. Jeff Francis fourth. Pedro Estacio fifth on that list. Here's the pitcher, Hansen, lined to Todd Helton his first time.
A name on that list you wouldn't think of right now because he's extended his career as a reliever with Kansas City. Jamie Wright, 132 starts. Former #1 draft pick. The youngest Rocky to get to the big leagues, I was told by Doug Marino the other night.
Good block by Iannetta. Francoeur's got to stay put.
Run across, one out here in the 4th inning. Aaron Cook's pitch count sitting at 57 right now. 37 of those strikes. A little high.
Swung out a miss by the 22-year-old pitcher, Tommy Hansen. It's 1-2. Braves have been playing good baseball. They're 7-3 the last 10. And in talking to Bobby Cox today, you and I both at different times visited with Bobby. He said, hey, our division's wide open, and it is. They're 2 under 500, but they're only 4 out of first place and third. And this is slowly hit to Stewart. He'll glove, and now Francoeur will move up. So with 2 outs, Francoeur goes to third. Hansen's retired. And a tough out, Nate McLeod.
Well, I tell you what, Bobby Cox mentioned to me today that he said we're this close, and he held his fingers up about a ½ inch apart. Part of the reason for his optimism is Hudson threw an inter-squad game today, a simulated game out here about 1:30. And I happened to be at the park, watched him, and his velocity's there. Not very many clean swings on him. So, I mean, it'll be pretty soon before he heads out. And you add that to the rotation they already have. That's a pretty formidable rotation to take into the back half of the season.
That has always been the calling card of the Atlanta Braves, and Tim Hudson's going to go out in the next several days and start his rehab assignment. McLeod singled his last time up. He's now got a 10-game hitting streak, second longest of his career. And that pitch misses inside. He hit a sharp ground ball up the middle. Tulowitzki's going to come in and talk for a moment to Aaron Cook. Watch when Tulo goes back. You know, he didn't do it this time, George. You know what I was going to do, right?
Yeah, his little good luck thing goes to second.
He always goes around the bag.
I noticed that last week he didn't do it one time, too. Didn't make you look good. It's not right. You should have known better.
I know. I think Cook, and George, you often describe this. He doesn't want to put McLeod on, but if he does, he's okay with it because I think he's more comfortable facing Prado on deck.
Yeah, and even though Prado's hitting 320, it's a youngster, a young kid. Maybe a little more confidence, and that tells you right there on a 2-0 count, throws a changeup or a curveball at 74 miles an hour.
And look at Iannetta, 3-0. He sets up way off the corner.
Well, they did that a minute ago with McCann to load the bases, too. They just kept everything away from it. You want to swing at it, go ahead. That's just pitching, is what that is. Now you just hope you make the pitch here to get out of the inning.
But, George, you know, in golf, we talk about managing the golf course, managing your game. This is managing, not literally like Jim Tracy, but for Aaron Cook, he's a veteran guy. This is managing the game. He's down a run, 3-2. He's more comfortable with the right-handed bat in the on-deck circle.
Figure out the best way to minimize your damage. If you're going to face McLeod, who's obviously swinging a hot bat, no, go to the youngster and hope you get him out.
Prado's hit it on the ground one time and struck out the other time. Of course, the risk you run is if McLeod takes off and then you do give up a hit, it's going to be an extra run. McLeod's 10 of 11 not going, and that's in there for a strike. And a base hit to right by Prado. McLeod's going to go to third. Francoeur scores to make it 4-2. The ball up a little bit tonight, George, from Aaron Cook.
Every hit that he's given up in this ball game, the pitches have been about belt high or a little bit below, and decision time starting to near for Jim Tracy with this. You see that fastball was above the belt line. Bob Apodaca will go visit on the Hyundai cam. You can really see. I mean, you're talking about pitches up here when Cook normally lives down here in this area. So when you're down that low in the strike zone and then you get the ball up, it makes it easy, particularly for a number 2 hole hitter that hits and runs a lot, a guy that's got back control. Makes it easier for him to handle that pitch than any other pitch he could throw. Big inning in the second, a lot of pitches here in the fourth.
Garrett Anderson at the plate, hit a comebacker and a ground ball toward the hole that Clint Barmas made a really good play on to throw him out. And this ball is hit in the air to right center field. Fowler is going to get back and make the catch. In the inning, there were 3 hits and a walk, couple of runs for the Braves. It is 4-2 Atlanta, middle of 4. the fourth inning. Todd Helton will lead off. Brad Hopp, then Troy Tulowitzki. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Alana Rizzo from the ballpark tonight. Rockies have an interesting streak going. They have won 14 in a row against teams outside of the National League West. Pretty amazing. Inside the West, they're 13-21. And as I'm sure you're aware, most of those losses at the hands of the Dodgers. There's a base hit for Helton. Francoeur swung over in the right center field gap. He had to come running to get to the baseball. Todd with another knock. So a good start to the inning. Brad Hopp will be coming up. Tonight's legendary performance play is brought to you by Cabot Woodstains. The last time these two teams met, Todd Helton came up with the bases loaded, and he hit a grand slam. A two-out grand slam in the fourth inning on May 21st. A Cabot Woodstains legendary performance. I wonder what happened to Yunel Escobar, George. Because
well, not sure. Well, he hit that triple and he went back out and played again. The next time up, there's
so Diori Hernandez is out there now. Brad hit the ball well to left his first time up. That fastball is away. 2-0 on Hopp.
Well, he's talking about changing the dynamics of a lineup. I mean, to get Escobar knocked out of that lineup, it's a straight up change. Hernandez comes in. He's hitting $135. $135. Not very, only 52 at bats. Only one home run and one RBI.
3-0. Tommy Hanson got a lot of advice from a lot of different people on making his first career start at Coors Field. And sometimes, George, that's not a good thing.
It's, better off just go out, pitch, get the experience yourself. Not try to worry about it. Not try to let too many people talk you into how you should pitch your ball game.
Ball four. Hopp on 4 pitches. Walks, and now there are 2 on. Nobody out. And Troy Tulowitzki approaching. Tulo, in his first plate appearance against the 22-year-old, hit a triple to left center field. That would work well here. And watch Escobar scoring. And he doesn't look healthy. That was when he scored back in the second inning. He stayed in the ball game. Grounded into a 4-6-3 double play in the third inning. Evidently, whatever the injury is, it's gotten worse.
See, Bobby Cox just looked up and went over to Cadilla, his bench coach, who sets the defense. And Hernandez was swung all the way over in behind Helton. So no, get back over into the hole, because if you pitch him in with hard sinkers or get a slider out front a little bit, he's going to pull this ball.
George, it'd be a 15-minute cab ride between the left fielder Garrett Anderson and the center fielder Nate McLouth right now.
What it amounts to is McLouth's playing defensively, shading into right center. And Garrett Anderson's just standing in left in his normal position. So that's what Drew's talking about. The big opening out here, here, and here. When you hit a ball out here, you're going to run for a while.
Cold foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Tulowitzki. Ian Stewart is on deck.
Well, amazingly, his last time up, when he came up to the plate, the triple that Tulowitzki hit was right into left center field. So shade it that way again, leave it that way. Maybe he'll hang a slider, do the same thing again, and hit it out there again.
Inside, 2-2. This is how dominant Tommy Hanson's been. This is just his 7th big league start. Since June 12th, he has one of the lowest ERAs in the game. Clayton Kershaw is lowest. Rockies see him a lot. They see Tim Lincecum a lot. And then you have Hanson. Lincecum hasn't given up a run in I don't know how long.
Well, how about this?
Starts.
Well, in the last 18 innings, he hadn't allowed the guy to second.
This ball weakly to third. It's going to turn into a double play. That's a bad place to hit that one. Almost right over the bag. Step on third, throw to first, 2 gone, hop to second.
Well, again, you're throwing a hard sinker down and in. When he did, he just slid right over on the top of it. Made it easy to make this double play become a reality for them. Now you got to run around at second. A guy that hit a ball very far, very quickly, and Ian Stewart coming to the plate.
That home run by Stewart, just his second career hit, 25 at bats against the Atlanta Braves. Hanson's the 4th rookie pitcher, starting pitcher in a row to face the Rockies. The Nationals threw 3 straight rookies. And hopefully another trend continues. The Rockies have won 5 straight against rookie starters. 4-2, they trail right now in the 4th.
And it got out of here in a hurry. It was a pitch down in the strike zone, out over the plate. Stewart just yanked it. Welcome to Coors Field, Tommy Hanson.
That's down. 2-1 on Stewart. Three and 1. Ionetta's on deck. Hop at second, 2 outs. He didn't want to give in with the fastball, did he?
Well, it makes all the sense, much like it did for Aaron Cook a minute ago. It just didn't work out. Hopefully it won't for Hanson.
Second walk allowed by Hanson. He wants to face Ionetta. Hopefully Chris makes him regret that. Affleck trivia question again. Dexter Fowler tied the Rockies record for steals yesterday with his 17th. Whose record did he tie? A guy that went on to have a nice career, particularly in Arizona. Q. Quentin McCracken stole 17 bases back in 1996. And then there were a couple of guys who stole a dozen in their rookie years. Aaron Miles, Corey Sullivan on that list.
You know, you wonder with Hanson, too, after giving up 2 runs, that long ball hit by Stewart. The first couple of innings, 17 and 21 were strikes. The next 2 innings, or I should say inning plus, 16 balls and 15 strikes. Just an opposite, starting to pitch away from contact all of a sudden. That's something maybe McCann went out to talk to him about. You know, why all of a sudden he's starting to dance away from it. He said 7 in the first inning, a very quick inning. And now all of a sudden comes back 14, 14, and 17.
He's still in a very good place. On the swing, according to first base umpire Paul Schreiber. Rob Drake behind home plate.
Well, now look at this. Did he go around? I mean, obviously they're looking up the line to see if they did cross that foul territory. That's kind of what umpires will tell you, that foul line, to see if the bat head went to that. If it did, it typically would be called a strike. This is what we're talking about. If they think it went past that in an attempt to hit the baseball, they're going to ring you up. And obviously it did.
Hanson worked 7 innings against Washington in his last outing. Before then, despite all of the success, he's basically been a 5 or 6 inning pitcher. And that misses. 3-1 with Carlos Gonzalez on deck. Atlanta being careful with their top prospect, not extending him too far. The Braves bullpen's been pretty sound also. 3-1 on Iannetta with 2 on. And this ball lined to the gap in left center field. This will get one home at least. Hop scores. Stewart around third. He'll score to tie up the game. Chris Iannetta into third with a triple. There's that gap again. And Iannetta placed one there perfectly between Garrett Anderson and Nate McLeod. Big 2-out triple there.
First one of the year for Chris Iannetta, with it. The ball just smoked out into left center field with 2 outs. After getting the double play ball, the walk to Ian Stewart to get to the right-handed hitting Iannetta, he made him pay for it. Garrett Anderson kind of jogging after the ball in left center. There it is. Curveball just went down and got it. That's a great piece of hitting by Chris Iannetta. On the Hyundai cam, you saw the rotation, the break, and then the contact by Iannetta, and then it's off to the races. Everybody coming around to score. The first was Hop, the second is Stewart. And with 2 outs here in the fourth, the Rockies have tied it 4-4.
Fourth inning, moving to those middle innings, George. I don't want to assume anything, but would they pass on Gonzalez here?
Well, they might. I mean, it's Bobby Cox's call, obviously sitting in the dugout, and they're talking about it right now, of whether they would make that move for Gonzalez. He grounded out to second. Young kid, do you face him or not? Yep, they're going to back him all the way up and go ahead and pitch to him.
Carlos hit a cue shot to the third baseman Prado his first time up. Ball 1. Sometimes with young pitchers, if you say, hey, pitch around a guy, this guy has very good control. He's got good stuff and good control, but maybe you're asking him to do more than a kid should be asked to do.
Yeah, and again, or tip your hat to Iannetta. I think he went down and got a pretty good pitch from him.
Well,
I think the one thing that he has done, though, is what he has done is he's gotten away from a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And that's the one pitch that he had that did a lot for him in the first couple of innings.
Yeah, I'm referring right now to how they're working Gonzalez. I mean, be careful, be careful. You have the pitcher on deck, and next thing you know, rather than passing on him, you make a mistake. Here's the 1-1. It's fouled off 1-2.
After 2 breaking balls, he threw the heater at 93 miles an hour and put it on the inner half down.
One and 2. Way inside, and that's a good pickup by McCann. Otherwise, Chris Iannetta may have had a chance to score. How about Iannetta, George? He's got 38 hits this year. 20 have been extra base hits.
20 extra base hits. He got 32 RBIs now, 31 RBIs on the season. 10 home runs. Trying to take the game versus letting the game come to him. Now all of a sudden you see the benefits of relaxing at the plate.
2-2, and this one is a pop-up to shallow right. Conrad is going to be called off by Francoeur. In the inning, the Rockies get 2 runs with 2 outs to tie it again. The big hit, a Chris Iannetta triple. FSN is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers. Finance or lease any new Hyundai. And if in the next year you lose your income, we'll make your payments for 3 months. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex in print and online at dexknows.com. And by Burt Chevrolet, where the 09 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab 4x4 is only $25,995. Now Chris Iannetta comes through with a big 2-run triple to tie up the ball game. And Brian McCann fouls the first pitch back from Aaron Cook. McCann doubled in the second inning and walked in the third. See if Aaron can get back online with that sinker, get it down in the zone. He does there, and the ground ball goes past a disinterested Glenn Hubbard. All those good infielders in the past, they become base coaches, and unless it's about to stop, they want nothing to do with it. And Hubby could pick it. Breaking pitch misses, 1-2. Atlanta, through the years, not surprisingly, has won more games than they've lost against the Rockies. They say not surprisingly. Of course, this is a team that won 14 straight division titles till a few years ago. 88-51 all time. A game over 500 at Coors Field, 29-28. There are not many clubs that can make that claim.
Not many at all that have come into Coors Field and won, because the Rockies dominated basically for their entire tenure here. And let's look on the Hyundai cam where this pitch got him. He went right across the top of the foot. Sometimes it smarts a little bit more when you catch it right on the ball of the foot.
Got him. Good pitch by Aaron Cook. He strikes out Brian McCann. That'll bring up Diori Hernandez for the first time, and it will also take us down to Alana Rizzo with tonight's great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. Hey, Alana.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. After 15 seasons in the major leagues, Terry Pendleton, the Braves hitting coach, decided to retire in 1998 to spend some time with his family. After 3 years of downtime, he got his first coaching position in the major leagues as the Atlanta Braves hitting coach, the position that he still holds today, that back in 2001. But other teams certainly took notice of him as potentially a manager. In 2006, he was on the short list to take over Frank Robinson's position for the Washington Nationals, but decided to remove his name from that list within a few weeks of the process. A lot of people also thought that he might become the St. Louis Cardinals manager until Tony La Russa, their current manager, decided to stay with St. Louis. And George and Drew, I wanted to ask you guys if you can see Pendleton coaching in the major leagues anytime soon.
Well, I think he'll manage in the big leagues, Alana. I think it's going to be a matter of time. I think to get to that next level, though, he kind of has to do what Don Mattingly did, and that was go be a bench coach for a couple of years and then go back to hitting if he doesn't get the job as a manager, because the bench coach is much more involved in the running of the game and in the running of the bullpen than what a hitting coach is.
I will say this, George, and I think you will concur. He has the right demeanor, and I think a lot of guys that hang around with Bobby Cox, and obviously Terry Pendleton's been with Bobby for a long time, they adopt the characteristics of a successful manager. And I asked Bobby, I said, it's been so long, who had the greatest influence on you as a manager? And the guy he mentioned was a Yankee skipper years ago when he was a player, and that was Ralph Houck. He said he treated the players fairly, and he had a kind of an even-keeled demeanor. And going back to Terry Pendleton, I think he has that.
Well, the thing about Bobby, and I would agree, I think that Pendleton does have that type of a demeanor because he had it as a player, too. But going back to Bobby Cox, he's only got 3 rules. You break one of them, you won't be here.
Pretty simple. Good inning for Aaron Cook, a 1-2-3 inning, his first since the first inning. 4-4 ball game, middle of 5. Sure, I'm Drew Goodman. Alana Rizzo roaming around the park. 4-4 ball game. Aaron Cook steps up against Tommy Hanson, and he gets a fastball for strike one. 14 pitchers this year have won their big league debut. That is a record. The previous best was 12 in 2008. Brooks Conrad throws out Aaron Cook. And that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Dexter's 1 for 2. Singled in the third, then was caught stealing. Shorten up at the corners, and the bunt is pushed foul. That's when you know, George, you're really, really fast, because he glanced down there. Prado's on the grass. Good 2.5 strides in front of the bag, so I'm going to lay it down anyhow. Because if it's a good one, he's going to be safe.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to get up and make the play on it, that's for sure. Last time he faked 2 bunts and then pulled the ball between first and second for a base hit.
Pretty good hook, just missed. 2-1. What do you think of him so far, George?
I like him. I mean, made a couple of mistakes. The Rockies have made him pay for it. He's a young kid, stays very aggressive into the strike zone, seems to anyway. I will say this. I think he changed his demeanor a little bit when he gave up the 2-run home run. I think he started to nitpick a little bit too much and got away from his aggressiveness.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
A lot of good young arms. I mean, look at what you got to see against the Washington Nationals, what they brought into the ballpark. Really like the Jordan Zimmerman kid. Detweiler, left-hander, yesterday gave up some runs. But yet, another one of those very, very good arms, former #1 draft pick.
3-2. One out, a 4-4 ball game in the 5th. First of 4 against the Braves, and this ball is fouled off. That's pretty good coverage, George. That's not an easy pitch to handle up in the zone.
You're going to get to see it again right now on the Hyundai cam. Taking a look at it. The thing is, it's in on his hands a little bit. See how tight his hands came into his body to get the bad head out on it quick enough. The one pitch he doesn't use very much, that's the changeup. A 3-pitch mix. A hard sinker.
Left center field, McLeod holding up his hand. Garrett Anderson said, hey, take as many balls out there as you want. I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I tell you, Garrett Anderson, not a lot of movement out in left field. He really hasn't. Of course, when he was in California, he had a guy named Matthews pretty good. Torrey Hunter was pretty good. How about the winning ways of the Rockies since June 5th? A lot of this has been due to the pitching of Jorge De La Rosa, 6-1. Look at Aaron Cook. Mr. Howell.
That's in the big leagues, George. Think about it. De La Rosa over the last 5 weeks has more wins than any other pitcher in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody's like, but his earned run average is high, around 5. But yet he wins baseball games, and what he's done nicely is he did yesterday. He got some great run support. He didn't give up runs until he got deep into the game. And you mentioned yesterday, it was 100 degrees yesterday.
Yeah.
There's 6 innings, 3 hits out of him. And then out in the 7th, all of a sudden he put some up. Fogg came in with the bases loaded. He gave up a base hit to let all 3 runs score.
A base hit and then a sac fly. So, Jorge continues to pitch very well. Had good fastball command. Barman's check swing foul ball. Now he's behind 1-2. Clint over his last 4 ball games, 7 for 17. Home run, 5 RBIs. Flew out to the wall in left center his first time up. Garrett Anderson made the catch. Helton waits on deck. Clint did a really good job, George, staying back on that. Talk about early identification. He saw that break it pitch early.
But it stayed up, too, into the strike zone. That's the other best part about it. A lot of times guys overswing on it. 76-mile-an-hour curveball from Mr. Hanson.
He's at 75 pitches, and more often than not, as we discussed, he's been a 5 or 6 inning pitcher. He's due up third next inning.
Average 97 pitches per inning. I mean, per start. So, I mean, you know, the highest was 105 against Washington in his last start. 2 outs, nobody on. I think Bobby Cox probably going to let him hit. But there's somebody on. You know, why you might let him sacrifice and go back out again. It just depends how long it takes to get out of this inning. Plus, they already had to use one bench guy in Hernandez. He weren't anticipating when Escobar had to leave.
That's a good point. This ball is hit hard center field, but McLeod's not going to catch up. All the way to the wall for Clint Barmas, and he'll have to stop at second, where he hit that thing a ton. And now the go-ahead run in scoring position for Todd Helton.
Fastball down and away, and remember, Barmas struck out on a fastball similar to this in his last at bat, a little farther off of the plate. Not this time, on the Hyundai cam, driven out over the head of Nate McLeod as he goes to get to the baseball, but he got there in a hurry and got it back in. That limited Barmas, and with his speed, realistically, he scores probably on a base hit from Helton. Good arm in right, good arm in center.
Excel Energy fun fact: Tommy Hanson can become the Braves' first starter to begin his career 5-0 since Larry McWilliams back in '78. More on that in a second. Here's Helton, and it's fouled off. I mean, that's amazing. You think about the Braves and all of the great pitchers they've had. John Smoltz, naturally, 300-game winner Tom Glavine, 300-game winner Greg
Dougie, who's the lefty that won all the games?
Steve Avery, who was terrific early on.
15-game winner his rookie year.
Kevin Millwood, he wasn't shabby.
Nope. How about this for Helton? 2 out runners in scoring position, 15 for 33.
That's down low. Our Excel Energy fun fact. A reminder, summer's a great time to cook outdoors. This keeps your house cooler and saves energy. Learn more energy tips at responsiblebynature.com. Barmas representing the Rockies' 5th run in a 4-4 game. Here's the 1-1 to Todd. Went off speed. 1-2. Hanson's the first Brave rookie to have 3 straight starts in which nobody scored against him. I mean, in all the great Brave pitchers, none of those in the last 15 years accomplished what Hanson has. This is fouled off.
Well, part of that is the pitching staff you've talked about. Smoltz came over in a trade for Doyle Alexander from the Detroit Tigers. Think Detroit would like to have him back? You bet. You know, Greg Maddux came from the Cubs in a trade. Tommy Glavine was raised there by the organization, as Avery was. But, you know, it's like talking to Bobby Cox today. Roger McDowell's taken over the coaching staff. And I said, you know, I always felt like McDowell would be a good pitching coach. He said, incredible. Of what he's done with this staff and the planning and the preparation before starts. His old pitching coach, Leo Mazzoni, left for a 3-year contract with the Baltimore Orioles. Was fired with 2 years to go on that contract.
Where is Leo?
He is in Atlanta on a radio talk show.
Okay. Hey, George, we're going to watch this foul ball by Helton. And Todd was on the pregame show with us today. And one of the things I asked him, I said, I know you're really thrilled for Brad Hopp. I said, what have you seen as, you know, the difference in Brad this year? He's been a really good player already. He goes, his ability to go to the opposite field and his ability to foul pitches off that are nasty. And that, of course, is what Todd does better than anybody. And this ball pulled to right, and it's going to go foul. Wait till you can find one you can handle, right?
Well, the more he sees, the better it's going to get. There's the foul ball we were talking about. That ball was all the way down onto the ground. A lot of times as a pitcher, you tell yourself on a curveball changeup and even the slider, try to hit the back point of home plate with it. And typically, you're not going to do that. But to try to do it, to ensure the fact mentally you're telling yourself to keep the ball down in the strike zone.
Todd ripped the single to right his last time up. The best outfield arm out there is in right, naturally. And Jeff Francoeur outside, not close, 2-2. hops on deck, and with Jim Tracy employing this against right-handers, George, more often than not, his two top hitters back-to-back, you can't look in the on-deck circle and say, well, I'll pass on help.
Well,
that won't work.
Well, that's why he does it. I mean, you know, Clint was pretty big about trying to separate the left-handers. He's more about pushing the left-handers together.
And Todd gets under it, right center field. Frank Core calling for it, and he's going to make the catch. So Barnes, a two-out double left aboard, 4-4 as we go to the sixth. For our AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Aaron Cook's first pitch is hitting the gap by Jeff Francoeur to right center field. And a good job by Dexter Fowler getting to it, but it's a double for Francoeur. He has had two doubles tonight against Aaron Cook, and now with nobody out, the Braves have the go-ahead run at second base. Brooks Conrad out of the 8-hole, and then we'll wait and see what Bobby Cox does with the pitcher due up after that. Gregor Blanco's the only true left-handed bat. Chipper Jones is the big bat on the bench, but you don't know if
he can swing it. I mean, it's like when he said he came in the dugout today. I can swing the bat, Bobby, if you want a bunch of singles. As soon as I start to turn on the baseball, I can still feel some irritation. So he's a guy that they may use late in the game, maybe not early. Particularly with a runner at first, where you could get a double play ball. You probably want to stay away from that.
There's a strike on Brooks Conrad. Boone Logan, former White Sox.
With a big arm. Cody Ross has stepped out into the on deck. Is that Ross? No, it's Diaz. Stepped out into the on deck circle.
This is a base hit up the middle. Fowler to the baseball. Francoeur around third, and he's going to score.
Franklin Morales has gotten up and started throwing for the Rockies in their bullpen too. See, I think they bring Diaz back. You go up and let the kid bunt him over. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Diaz will come back. They're going to let Tommy Hanson go up and try to bunt him into second base. Then a line drive right back up the middle. Once again, that sinker up into the strike zone a little bit. Just about got Paul Nauert out at second base. And on into Dexter Fowler, the hard thrown in, not in time. Francoeur runs well.
Remember, he was one of the top defensive football players available when he came out of Parkview Central High School in the Atlanta area. He was recruited by Notre Dame. I mean, he was recruited by everybody. He'd signed with Clemson to play football and baseball. And the Braves offered him enough that he decided to go the baseball route.
Well, I thought it was interesting. When I was in Rome, Georgia earlier this year watching the Asheville Ball Club play, their pitchers were out early. Bored, go to the ballpark at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Their pitchers were out on a machine down in A-ball, and they were working on nothing but bunts and slug bunts for all 3 days I was there. So that tells you a little bit about when these guys get up here. Like Hansen, let's see how good of a bunter he might be. But that's you think back. Smoltz handled the bat fairly well. So did Maddox. So did Glavine. Avery handled it well. Pitchers in years past have handled it pretty well.
One of the things that joined all those guys at the hip, and a lot of outstanding pitchers. Those guys you all mentioned, George, we've talked about their golfing exploits. They're all really good athletes. I mean, Glavine was drafted as a goalie in hockey.
Well, they're Gold Glovers.
Smoltz is a tremendous athlete. Yep. Maddox fielded his position better than anybody. They were complete players. And in the case of Smoltz, he's still going.
Well, one of the neat things
by Boston.
One of the neat things Bobby Cox did, he said they all had good arms, but they threw strikes, so they didn't walk anybody.
It's the 1-1. He offered at it. 1-2.
Sure did. Now you see that hard sink down and in. They just couldn't make a commitment out in front of the plate to try to get it down.
He offered at that, and he's gone. So Tommy Hansen, a strikeout victim, first out of the inning. 5-4 Atlanta, and that'll bring up Nate McLeod, who is 1 for 2 and a walk. Third strikeout tonight for Aaron Cook. At times he has had the very good sinker, the typical Cook sinker tonight, and other times he's left pitches up in the strike zone.
All about extension and getting out over the front side. That's when he has that problem. When he doesn't get out front and it becomes a side moving fastball versus a down and away moving fastball.
Dougie just handed me a note, George. The final vote's in for the extra All-Star.
Hey, as long as Guzman's not on it, I'm all right.
Guzman is not on it.
Okay.
Shane Victorino was voted in.
That's a great vote.
Yeah, that is a good vote. That pitch misses. And in the American League, and I've got no problem with this, another guy the Rockies saw this year, talking about tremendous athletes who've had great years, Brandon Inge.
Yes.
So Brandon Inge goes for the American League, and Shane Victorino for the National League from the Phillies. Inge, of course, a Detroit Tiger.
Well, all the kids through the gates on Saturday, July 11th, you'll receive a pack of Disney GeForce trading cards courtesy of Disney. Make sure you purchase your tickets for that ball game. It is Saturday, July 11th. The Braves are in town. You get the GeForce trading cards courtesy of Disney.
And that pitch is down 2-0 on McLeod. Last year, Nate McLeod was an All-Star. He had 276 with the Pirates, 26 home runs, 94 RBIs. And he also added 23 stolen bases. And 3-0. That was pitch number 86 on the night. Talking to Jim Tracy before the ball game about Nate McLeod. When he first took over as the manager of the Pirates, he told people during organizational meetings, he said in time McLeod would be the best all-around player in this organization.
Well, that's a big statement.
And you know what? He was right, though. Runner going 3-1. This is line to center. Will it hold up? Dexter reaches down, can't make the catch. And now they're going to get a force.
Well, I'll tell you what happened there is it's Joe West was the guy making the call all the way from third base. It was not Paul Nauert. Paul Nauert was watching the runner come to second. And so West is the guy that made the safe call. It's just Joe never got out far enough to allow the runner to see. See, he thought this ball was caught. So he's looking right at it, though. And it's trapped on the ground. He's heading back. And you can see Paul Nauert immediately looked left. As soon as he looked left, yep, ball bounced and it got under Dexter's glove right here. Going out into center field, that ball gets away from him. The ball's not a catch, obviously. So then they were able to double off Conrad.
That's a big break. Prado at the plate takes strike one. That's a tough read. I mean, Conrad's, you got to go far enough that he can reach second, but if the ball's caught, he wants to make sure he can get back. He got caught in no man's land because the ball was hidden by the dive. It went behind Fowler.
You said a key word there, by the dive. And I think that's where, as the base runner, you have to make sure somebody, you look at one of two umpires, is going to make that call. And as he's got to get up off of the ground, grab the baseball, if it's in his glove, and throw you out at first base, if he did catch it. So he had a little bit of time there. He immediately made a U-turn and headed back to first base.
Ball and a strike on Prado. Got an RBI single back in the fourth. It's 5-4 Atlanta, top of 6.
See, watch what happens right here. See, he's coming in. He immediately just drops his head and turns around and takes off the other way. He didn't try to pick up the ball or pick up an umpire or his coach at third base, anything. He made that move completely on his own.
Gotta watch McLeod at first. Not going. This is top foul, 1-2. This would be an ideal pitch. This would be Bobby Cox to send Nate McLeod. Worst thing that happens is Prado leads off the following inning.
Yeah. He's not a guy that gambles much. Bobby doesn't gamble an awful lot like that. I mean, that's the unusual side of it. I mean, not that he's book by book, but you know, he's just a lot of times he'll let guys swing the bat away.
However Bobby does it, he's done it right. Here's the 1-2, runner not going, swung on and missed by Prado, foul tip, popped out of the glove. So
I joked to Bobby today. I said, hey Bobby, if you had a $200 million payroll like the Mets or like the Yankees, do you think you could win the pennant? He just laughed. So give me $200 million to work with on a payroll, I'll have some fun.
They may end up winning that thing. That division's
just scattered. I mean,
well,
let me say, hey, the New York Mets, though, Drew, those Mets are beat up. They really are.
Runner going 1-2, back up the middle, base hit. Prado with a single, and McLeod will turn second and go to third.
How big's the mistake at second now, and the ball hit to center field? Not being able to take the read off of that.
Jim Tracy's hand may be forced here. He's going to go out. Take out Aaron Cook.
It's a line drive right back up the middle. Cook's given up 9 hits and 5 runs. He's got 2 outs here in the 6th. He'll make the move and bring in Franklin Morales out of the bullpen.
Well, you got a left-handed bat coming up at Garrett Anderson. It makes sense. Aaron Cook hands the baseball to Jim Tracy. With the part trailing 5-4 in the 6th inning. Franklin Morales will inherit a first and third situation with 2 outs when we come back to Coors Field. is given way here to Franklin Morales. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800-COMCAST. This will be the second appearance for Franklin since being recalled to the big leagues a few days ago. And he'll be asked to get Garrett Anderson, a left-handed bat, with Nate McLeod at third and Martin Prado at first.
Well, Franklin came in the other day, did a wonderful job. He had to face a guy that's a slap-type hitter in Morgan, and he was able to get the strikeout with the bases loaded. Well, he's got a tough customer in Anderson, Garrett Anderson, now, because he's played every single day. Left-handed, right-handed, it didn't matter who it was. But advantage goes over to Morales just because there's not a lot of history between these two guys. But you got a guy that knows how to hit sitting at the plate this year versus left-handers. Don't even want to tell you. 321.
I'll tell you what, George, this is a big one. You're starting to get to the later stages of this ball game. Rockies still have 12 outs to work with offensively, down by a run. Morales needs to get Anderson. Anderson's reaction on that 93-mile-an-hour fastball was if, man, I'm getting old for this.
Well, I didn't like that up and in stuff, obviously. There's the numbers we talked about. 258 versus righties, but 5 home runs.
And 321 left on left. That gets your attention. That's in there for a strike.
Yep. Let's flash back to his first appearance coming out of the bullpen for the Rockies with Morgan at the plate and the bases loaded. 92-mile-an-hour cheese froze him.
I think that was a 3-2 pitch, if memory serves me correctly. Here's the 1-1. To left field, Gonzalez is right there, and they'll tuck it away. So Franklin Morales gets Garrett Anderson with 2 aboard in the inning. The Braves get a run. They're up 5-4, middle of 6.
Light freeze cam, and we're going to go back to the gap hits by Tulowitzki first. See that big old gap in the outfield with Anderson. The ball gets to rolls all the way to the wall. You see where the runners are, or I should say the defense is, out in the outfield, and they just take it right out into the gap. And then Iannetta came to the plate. Same defense set up again. A huge gap. And you see Anderson all over the left side of your screen. Ball rolls all the way out. See Tulowitzki. There's the gap. There's the ball. And the Rockies got a run out of that. With Iannetta, got a couple of runs out of it. That was the Frost Brewed Coors Light freeze can.
So we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the former White Sox, Boone Logan, takes over. Boone Logan, George, will run that fastball up in the mid-90s.
Well, I always liked his arm. He has a very good arm. 4 games that he's pitched in. 1-0, 491 earned run average over 3 2/3 innings.
I remember we were impressed when we saw him last year when the Rockies visited U.S. Cellular on the south side of Chicago, and he was still employed by the White Sox.
He can get it up to 95. I mean, he's like most guys coming out of the bullpen. He'll use 2 pitches primarily. Fastball at 91 to 95. The slider will run up to 83. Set 877 average.
And he goes with the slider at 76, and he catches the inside corner. Brad Hopp walked and scored in the fourth. Hit a line drive to left. Hit it well, but Garrett Anderson was in the neighborhood. Rockies have played catch up throughout this ball game. Down 2-0, tied it at 2. Down 4-2, tied it at 4. And now they're down 5-4. 0-2 on Hopp. Rockies trying to win their 4th consecutive game. We're going to see good pitching from Atlanta throughout this 4-game series. Tommy Hanson goes 5 innings, gives up 4 runs. All of them earned, 6 hits, couple walks, couple of strikeouts. So the Rockies had more success against Hanson than just about anybody. This ball is roll over ground ball to second. 1 out. Tulowitzki will be coming up. If your windshield's damaged in any way, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass. 303-287-5000 online at safelite.com. Troy chops this one foul. Since June 8th, roughly a month ago, 32 days ago, if you will, 31 days, Albert Pujols has hit the most home runs in the National League, 13. Jason Worth of the Phillies has hit 11. Sandoval, Pablo Sandoval's hit 10. Mark Reynolds hit 10. Then Troy Tulowitzki and Lance Berkman with 9. And this ball is in the air to right center field, and McLeod moves over and makes the catch.
Shaded into right center field. That's the advantage it took for him. Acosta, also a right-hander, warming up down in their bullpen.
Time for our Geico quote of the day. Hammerin' Henry Aaron, the pitcher's got only a ball. I've got a bat, so the percentage in weapons is in my favor. And I let the fella with the ball do the fretting. And boy, did the guy with the ball do a lot of fretting.
Boy, there's no question about that. And the one thing, it's kind of like Willie Mays when he made that comment. He said, I'll take my 0 for 8 against Drysdale and Koufax, but that number 3, 4, and 5 better duck. When I take my 8 for 12 with some home runs.
Yeah.
And it was great because, you know, I think, Drew, that's probably the one thing I miss about the game today more than anything else. When I first came up, those guys were still around the ballpark a lot. You go in and a visiting team, and Hank Aaron would be in the Rays dugout. You could go talk to him about what it was like then. I mean, he's very open with you and would tell you the war stories of being an African American and going through what he had to go through to come to the big leagues. Those, you know, to go sit with Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, all those guys. I love the history they would give you about the game. And the little sayings that, you know, like Willie telling me one day, yeah, I dug this big hole. I looked out and saw it was Drysdale, and I called time, covered the hole back up, got back in the box, and he threw it over my head anyway.
That's a great story. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ian Stewart with a home run earlier. 2-1. Well, Willie's still around the ballpark at AT&T in San Francisco.
Neat to see. Signed some autographs for you if you happen to catch him down in front of the dugouts at times.
A lot of times he's inside the clubhouse playing cards.
Well, of course, he was always around a lot more when Barry Bonds was there because that's his godson. So he was always around when Barry was there and being a part of everything.
3-1.
You know, I always hated that when they threw it back to you kind of hard and you slapped it and you whiffed. The ball goes on the ground.
Ball 4. So Stewart with 2 outs goes to first. And that will enable Chris Iannetta to swing the bat here in the 6th inning. And boy, did he ever swing it in the 4th. Biggest hit of the night for the Rockies. 2 outs, 2 on. And Iannetta delivered a triple to left center field, his first triple of the year. And it tied up the ball game at 4.
Iannetta 1 for 1 with a home run against Boone Logan. How do you like that?
Must have come at U.S. Cellular last year.
Sure did. 1 for 1 with a home run. Stay
perfect, Chris.
And I'll guarantee you, he and Ionetta both remember it.
I was just going to leave that to you. You know, we've talked about that before.
Sure
You remember, especially if it's, you know, within a year.
Yeah.
And especially in the case of Logan, he hasn't seen the Rockies. The Rockies haven't seen him much, so he knows, yeah, that big old catcher took me deep.
Yep, he remembers exactly probably what the pitch was and the location.
He went away, and he went in 2-0.
Having a little trouble finding the strike zone, falling behind. He does have a young left-hander in the on-deck circle. It's probably going to be the only inning he'll pitch.
This ball rolled to left, a base hit. So the Rockies apparently not done here in the 6th. That'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez with 2 aboard. Well, this is one of the guys, George, in Chris Ionetta, the Rockies want to see get going, and he is not a 223 hitter.
No, not at all. And I think that's the one thing that when you do realize when this kid gets hot, much like the kid out at second base, Ian Stewart, you better look out, because the bottom half of this lineup is going to create an awful lot of offense for you. And not only just the offensive side of things with a higher average, you're going to see more runs driven in.
Spielborg's in the on-deck circle. Carlos Gonzalez to hit. He's in the 8-hole. Chris, go ahead, George.
No, I was going to say part of the reason why Spielborg's is the guy out. And again, Jim Tracy talked about this. He looks forward to the chess match with Bobby Cox. That's one thing he does look forward to.
Pulled toward the hole. Kochman gets over. Foot raise. Gonzalez. Oh, man. Bang, bang at first. And Logan, who was pretty late, evidently got his spikes down in front of Gonzalez. Let's see if Paul Schreiber was on it. He was.
Colorado Rockies. It's Green Week, and here's a tip on how you can help keep the environment green. Set your thermostat 2 degrees warmer in the summer. For more information on the 20 games of green, visit coloradorockies.com/green.
Atlanta leading 5-4, top of the 7th inning. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Alana Rizzo, first of 4 between the Rockies and Atlanta Braves. They split the series down in Atlanta, Georgia in May. Leadoff man is Brian McCann, the cleanup hitter. Franklin Morales got the final out of the 6th inning. Aaron Cook right now has the hook. He went 5 2/3, gave up 5 runs, all of them earned on 9 hits, a couple of walks, 3 strikeouts. George, Cook lived up in the zone a little bit more than we normally see today.
Well, he did. I mean, it was more of a hurt opposite field. As things started to come in, it was a little bit more. He started to get more of the plate to start to go back up the middle with it. But a lot of his hits came to the opposite field. Think of the ball that Conrad hit to right field after walking the left-hander and drove in a run. McCann went left.
0-2, and it's popped to left center. That's a very good pitch by Morales. Good hard hook, and McCann is gone. That'll bring up Diori Hernandez. It will also take us again to Alana. Hey, Alana.
Right. Hey, Drew, thanks very much. You guys had mentioned earlier that Brian McCann was heading to the Midsummer Classic next week in St. Louis. And I wanted to tell you guys, he was selected by the players, obviously, as a player selection. But it's his first... in his first 4 full years, if that makes any sense, on the opening day roster. First full years, 4 times he's been there. He's the only Brave to ever do that. Hank Aaron did it in 3 of his first 4, but not consecutively. So Brian McCann is the only Atlanta Brave to do it every single time he's been on the opening day roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, guys.
Well, think about it too. He went through that little vision thing this year, and I just jump onto the glasses and wearing those for the first time in his career to help alleviate the eyesight problem. Mystery to everyone until they put the glasses on.
2 outs, and that'll bring up Casey Kochman. Rockies in the bottom of the 7th. Look like they're going to face George, the man from down under, Peter Moylan, who's been a busy guy for the Braves. He has more appearances than anybody in the game.
Very good arm.
Yep. And they'll have a pinch hitter, and then Dexter Fowler and Clint Barnes on the outside corner. I like what I've seen from Morales, George, coming out of the pen. I mean, he's taking the baseball, he's getting on the rubber, and he's throwing, 92 to 94 with the heater. He's got the good curveball.
Well, I talked to him a little bit yesterday. I said, he liked the bullpen, huh? And he goes, well. And I said, hey, it's great. You just come out firing and just let it fly, man. If they hit it, they hit it. If they don't, they don't. You're out of there in an inning. You don't have to worry about trying to feel your way through a ball game. Which a lot of guys, they come out of the bullpen after working the starters. They're a little bit panicked about how they're supposed to try to get through that inning.
And, I think long term he's still a starting pitcher, but there's been a lot of guys that have helped their clubs immensely as a young player in this role. They helped the Rockies in 07 as a starter, but the name that always comes to mind most recently is Adam Wainwright.
Well, the need for a left-handed blowaway guy. I mean, a guy that could just come in and stick it on a lefty or get a punch out and be able to do it. The Rockies needed that guy, and this is the guy that could do it.
He faced 4 hitters. He got them all. Middle of 7, 5-4 Atlanta. Home Depot doing more on defense. Look at his throw by Ryan Spilborghs getting the start yesterday for Brown Hopp in right field. That was huge because the first hitter had a base hit in the ball game. The next hitter a base hit. And a fast man, and Nigel Morgan is cut down going first to third. The Home Depot doing more on defense. That kind of set the tone. And of course, Spilly had a great catch in foul ground yesterday.
I'm not sure what's going on here. I guess maybe Moylan was not ready down in the bullpen, so they sent Logan out to warm up first, and then now they're going to bring Moylan into the ball game.
Well, we'll get a bonus break then. Peter Moylan makes his way in. It's a long run from Australia.
They got an argument going right there.
Seventh inning on a beautiful night at Coors Field. Peter Moylan, who throws from down under and is from down under, his 47th appearance. Man, that's a ton of appearances before the All-Star break. And he's coming off Tommy John surgery.
Well, 47th appearance, but look right here, only 34 2/3. A lot of situational stuff going on, a lot of up and down, though. I think probably coming into the game, he's ready to go. When Bobby warms him up, he's coming in. He's going to face Ryan Spilborg, so he'll hit for Franklin Morales. The Rockies have the right-hander. It appears to be Peralta warming up to pitch the 8th.
Yeah, Ryan Spilborg's perfect guy to pinch hit against the Atlanta Braves. He owns a .393 career average against the Braves with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. So Spilborg, who started yesterday and played very well, a 3-run triple in the ball game yesterday. And he takes strike 1. That was wicked. That was a slider, and that was late in terms of the movement.
Yeah, looking at this one more time, this pitch going to start here and then just make a big bend on it if you're the hitter. It really appears that way if you're standing up there. McCann giving a really low target. One thing I'll say for Brian McCann, he's really consistent with the way he sets up fastball, breaking ball behind the plate. You don't see a lot of differential. The widening of the knees, widening of the feet on a breaking ball. He stays together pretty well. Call him for the slider. Arche rocks that outside, and the feet stay right here onto that corner where he wants to pitch. That one backed up. 78.
2-2 on Spilborg's. Spilly just 1 for 10 as a pinch hitter. Fowler will hit next.
Fastball away, outside corner. We had an email the other day about signs that catchers give. Off of the plate at 91.
Moylan pitched the first week and a half of the 08 season and then had elbow replacement, ligament replacement surgery, Tommy John surgery. Good job by Spilborg to cover that outside corner. Yeah, that's got to be, for a guy like Taylor Buchholz, who's recovering from Tommy John surgery and We see him every day in the clubhouse. To see a guy like Moylan work, that has to buoy his spirits, and that he was able to get back in slightly less than 12 months. And of course, he's a setup guy, just like Taylor Buchholz.
Well, a lot of guys said bones heal, injuries heal much faster than other guys, and it's a matter of how everything kind of works back together again to see if they have the ability to come forward as he has. And you know, he healed obviously very quickly, right back out on the mound at 91 miles an hour. See where he goes here. Fastball away, outer half of the plate from that sidearm delivery.
On the ground to second.
Spilborghs did the right thing. The ball was away. He just kept trying to take it to the right side and tried to sneak it through a couple of airborne, and that last ground ball for an out. Watch where this pitch is on the knees. You might be sitting there thinking, all right, that's ball 4, but on a 3-2 count, as a pinch hitter, the last thing you want to do is get rung up looking and have it called. So Flaherty, the left-hander.
There's 3 lefties down there. Mike Gonzalez, who used to be the closer, it's now Rafael Soriano. Another lefty down there. Soriano throws from the right side. That fastball's down low at 90 to Dexter Fowler. By the way, speaking of setup guys, Manuel Corpus yesterday worked an inning for the Colorado Springs Sky Sox, a scoreless inning.
Drop off all of your new or used baseball equipment at the gates before the game on July 11th and help the less fortunate child enjoy the game of baseball. All equipment will be donated to the local agencies that support youth baseball programs throughout Denver. So when you come to the ball game tomorrow, make sure, or in the 11th, excuse me, on Saturday, bring all that old equipment, stop by and get some new. Whatever you do, just drop it off at the ballpark.
Toward the hole and into right field. Fowler's aboard. Hit it where they ain't, right?
Yeah, and I really thought, I mean, even if Conrad comes up with this ball, he tried to do the super scoop on this baseball. Watch how he gets over, thinking it's going to come up one more time. It did not. So he tried to carry it up. I don't think he'd had Dexter at first anyway. He tried to put the move on it at short right field. Moylan a little bit slower to the plate than what we saw in Tommy Hanson. There's that sidearm delivery.
That pitch misses. Fowler was thrown out earlier in the ball game.
Yeah, 1.78 seconds for McCann to throw the ball down to second base.
They scored that in error, George, on Brooks Conrad.
That's tough. That's a tough error.
I don't really think he got leather on it. He had a long way to go, and I agree with you. I'm not so sure even if he gets there, by the time he rights himself, I don't know if he's going to get Dexter.
Yeah, that's one of those calls that may be reversed here just a little bit. First error of the season for Conrad.
There goes Fowler, and the bunt was pulled back. It's a called strike. Dexter steals the base. That's 18 stolen bases, a new Rockies rookie record. And now the tying run in scoring position. The Rockies will have a couple of shots at it, first with Barmes and then with Helton.
And he tried to get his glove in position to make the exchange and rotate so he could have a shot at Dexter Fowler. Hit off the thumb of the glove and just ricocheted towards the Rockies dugout. Yeah, don't go to sleep either with Dexter there. He will steal third base. Out of his 18 stolen bases, 5 have been at third base.
They have already changed it, George. You went from an error to a hit. That's the fastest we've seen a change all year, and that was the right call. It's a base hit for Dexter Fowler. Stolen base, 1 out, 1-1 pitch upcoming to Clint Barmes. He doubled his last time up. Barmes in a good place offensively.
Now, if Moylan knows if he walks him or even if he gets him out, the left-hander O'Flaherty's probably coming in to face Todd Helton.
He'll hop on deck. And of course, Bobby Cox, the luxury of having 3 lefties in his pen. So this will be it for Moylan. 2-2 on Barmas. Clint Barmas in the 2 spot in the order, hitting .309. This ball down the line, center ball. Whistle tied up the game. Dexter Fowler will trot home. Barmas to second with an RBI double. We're all even.
Starting at the 2-hole position to look and see the RBI totals continue to climb. Barmas with his 44th, a hanging slider that he got out front on a Hyundai cam. You can see it. He hooked it right down the third base line. Bobby Cox will go to the bullpen to get the lefty as this ball sailed down into the corner. The stolen base by Dexter Fowler. His 18th results in a run, the 44th RBI for Clint Barmas.
So Clint Barmas comes through again, and the Rockies have caught the Braves again. Bobby Cox takes the baseball. We'll step aside. 5-5, bottom of 7 at 20th and Blake. You buy the great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. By the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. And by the Colorado Lottery. Don't forget to play.
Well, Flaherty has faced Todd Helton and Brad Hopp. They're 0 for 2 combined earlier in the year in Atlanta.
How about this, George? The last 15 runs for the Rockies have been plated by extra base hits.
And how many of those have been with the bottom half of the lineup? It's been very productive of late.
Helton takes ball 1. Go ahead run at second base. Clint Barmas. You know, Clint, if you watch the Rockies on off-speed pitches, he typically he lands heavy on that front side, George, but he keeps his hand back and he stays through the ball, so it's not always pretty as that's fouled off.
But that's why everybody thinks he does the bowling ball swing or whatever you want to say. But one thing about it is his hands do stay back and allows him, and his hands are extremely quick to the zone. That's what allows him to be able to do what he does. Well, Flaherty's fastball, it says here 80 to 93. Big difference in that fastball. He can't get it up a little bit higher. The slider up to 87.
Look out. 2-1 count. 22 doubles. 23 doubles now for Clint Barmas. So he's among the league leaders, along with Helton, who's got 24, and Brad Hopp, who's got 26. Brad came into the ballgame second in the league at doubles. 3-1.
Taking a look at Barbas' swing we're talking about, and watch how everything floats forward on the swing out to this point. See how far everything goes out. But as he dips down into this back leg, it allows the upper half to drop, and then the hands stay on the baseball out front.
Todd sitting on that fastball, got a breaking ball, and it's 3-2. Brad Hop adjusting the gloves. He'll be next. Ooh, and O'Flaherty comes back and strikes out Hilton. 2 outs.
And again, and then you're talking about Todd Helton's hit left-handers, 302 on the season, more of a cutter. Helton just got under it. They reduced velocity on a 3-2 count. Anytime you see Todd's head with a big tilt and rotate to the left side, just tells you he didn't have a chance to track the baseball all the way into the glove. Different guy with Hop. He really crowds the plate. Has hit left-handers 299, 4 of his 13 home runs against left-handers.
And he is Mr. Clutch with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position.
And a lot of times on his swing, and watch what happens on the, and look at it from center field. Slow it down, guys, right here. Watch how this steps back to try to get to the slider right here in this point. See how he opens that front side up in anticipation of a hanging slider to the inside part of the plate, and he would have crushed it. Unfortunately, the pitch ended up right out here on the outside part of the plate, made it difficult for him to get to.
1 ball and 1 strike on Hop, who leads all of baseball with 32 2-out RBIs. Stayed off it, 2-1. Looking around the ballpark, George, we've been following this ball game intently naturally. It's been a tight game throughout. This is a great Thursday night crowd.
Well,
for Atlanta.
Yeah, you bet. Atlanta Braves are in town. The Rockies are playing great baseball. Just swept the Washington Nationals. You're going to get a big crowd in here.
The rock pile, we've just been told, sold out tonight. This ball pulled to second. And Brooks Conrad will flip to first. So O'Flaherty comes on. He gets Helton and Hop with Barmas at second. But Clint's double drives in Dexter Fowler with the tying run. All even again. – 20 games of green, and we want to hear from you. Share your tip for helping the environment for a chance to have it read by Jeff Francis during the Rockies pregame report tomorrow night at 6:30. Email your green tips to rockymountain@fsninsider.net today. 5-5 game. The hits are all even at 9. The only area of the ball game the Rockies have. Clint Barmas didn't do any damage. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800-COMCAST. And a guy who's been very solid in a Rockies uniform. One of those pleasant surprises that have to happen to good teams, particularly down in the bullpen. Joel Peralta.
Yeah, he'll take a shot at Frank Gore, first guy coming in. Frank Gore in his career is 0 for 0, so he walked one time and had a bat against Peralta.
George, an inning and a third of perfect relief from Franklin Morales.
Well, that's, you know, obviously, hopefully that'll be his niche, but right now it's not going to be in the rotation with the way they've thrown the ball. The Rockies' record tied after 7 innings this year, 2-4. The Atlanta Braves 5-3. I was going to expand a little bit out of the conversation I had with Jim Tracy when he said, you know, managing against Bobby Cox, who was one of the best. When you get into the chess game of who to pinch hit, who not to pinch hit, keep late for ball games. He said he always managed his bullpen well. And he said that was the one thing I always admired about him. And to get our matchups where you want. And again, he's used 2 of his top left-handers, yet he has Gonzalez, the guy that was the closer, 9 saves still left because he has the convenience of 3 guys. Alan Embry, the left-hander, warming up for the Rockies in their bullpen.
And right now Gonzalez is going because 2 of the next 3 hitters for the Rockies, George, or 2 of the next 4, 2 of the next 3, excuse 2 of the next 4, I'm getting confused.
We'll get it right.
Are left-handed, and Ian Stewart and Carlos Gonzalez.
Well, and you want to make sure that situation, when it comes up, and you looked at it with Gonzalez, the left-handers have hit 224, right-handers 228. He's had pretty good dominance of both sides. He's only given up 4 home runs, 2 to each side of the plate.
And Embry is getting up a matchup situation. You got McLeod 4 doors down. If Chipper Jones does hit in the pitcher's spot, Chipper this year from the right side is 313, from the left side is 281. He actually has 5 of his 9 home runs righty. So I don't know if you go to Embry there. Seems to me that'd be more for McLeod. Here's the 2-2, and this is hit pretty well left center field. Gonzalez is not going to get there. Jeff Francoeur has had a big game, and he will stop at second with his 3rd double in a row.
Yeah, he's been a double machine in this ball game. How about that? And watching him take batting practice today, that's really what he specifically worked on. Right center field, left center field into the gaps, trying to stay on top and line drives. He's leaving the yard an awful lot. Well, he did a good job here. He got a ball that was up out over the plate on a split finger. It stayed up in the strike zone. The important thing about that pitch, folks, you really got to extend to the plate. And I know this sounds crazy, but you reach up and in your mind you're thinking about grabbing the catcher's mask and just jerking it straight to the ground between his legs. So to ensure the fact you get straight pull on the baseball.
Brooks Conrad, an RBI single. He bunts it in the air. This is a big break. Peralta grabs the baseball, 1 out. That's the 2nd time in the game that Conrad failed to move Francoeur after a double.
Here's the other thing. Chipper Jones will pinch hit right now. Let's see what Jim Tracy does as a manager. It's 5-5, so the winning run's out at second. Do you face Jones against him? No, you're gonna walk him. You don't even. Well, I'd walk him. And then you go ahead and let McLeod face Embry. The chess game has begun, folks.
Well, they'll put on Chipper, but you know what else this does, George? It forces, Jim Tracy is now forcing Bobby Cox to burn another player, maybe a pitcher, maybe a starting pitcher, but he's not going to let Chipper run with that groin injury.
We can't let him run. There's no way. So Diaz, Ross, and Blanco, the 3 guys still left on their bench. With Escobar leaving, I thought it maybe opened up a little bit of a door for the Rockies because of the defense. I mean, offensively into the lineup, to have a guy like Hernandez hitting a .135 step in where Escobar had done such a great job.
Let's see who's going to come out and run. Bobby's got his hand on somebody, and here he comes out of the dugout. So it'll be Gregor Blanco. So you can cross off Blanco and Jones. And now you have the backup catcher, Ross, and you have Matt Diaz available. Jim Tracy will make the pitching change with McLeod, a left-handed bat, coming up. And another left-handed bat 2 doors down in Anderson. Here comes the veteran Alan Embry. Out. Nate McLeod, their leadoff man, is up against Alan Embry. Gregor Blanco is pinch running for Chipper Jones, who the Rockies just intentionally walked as Chipper was pinch hitting. Chipper with a groin strain comes right out. So the lead runner is Frank Core. He runs well. Blanco runs well at first base. McLeod in the game is 1 for 2 and a walk, and really very close to being 2 for 3. And the reason I say that is he hit a line drive to center field that Dexter Fowler laid out on, trapped the baseball, rolled over, picked it up, and the runner in front of him, Brooks Conrad, was confused, thought he caught it, started going back to first, and the Rockies got the force at second. Suffice it to say, McLeod has hit the ball well tonight. He's got a 10-game hitting streak also.
Ed mentioned 1 for 2 against Embry as he's faced him in his career so far, so you're going to have to make the pitch you want to make. The one thing I think that's helped out on Embry, he's had the ability to throw his slider for a strike on the first pitch with his recent success.
Rockies defense naturally poised to turn 2. And George, there it is on cue.
Well, the one thing that Jimmy Wright did, one thing that they did with Embry on the mound was they closed him. They closed his feet up. Now watch it when he comes set. Watch this foot right here. It's going to be out in front of the right foot. They used to be even. So by having it out in front, it makes him stay closed just a little bit longer. Snap another slider up.
George, you know who's really exaggerated that way is Matt Daly on the right side to keep that shoulder closed. He's way across with that foot when he comes set.
He's kind of always been that way, but he squats down. That's an unusual delivery. That's the Tom House special out of USC, but it's worked well for Daly. It doesn't work well for everyone.
0-2 on McLeod. Prado is on deck. Got it with a slider down and in. So Embry strikes out a tough man in Nate McLeod. There are 2 outs. And Martin Prado is coming up, and that'll be all for Embry. He's good. You know what, Jim Tracy, he'll do this. He doesn't care how many it takes. He is going to get through this critical situation. And he's going to go to a right-hander now. That was a great pitch by Embry. He gets a big attaboy. And Jim Tracy, he's going to pass the baton, if you will, to Ron Rincon. Second, and Rincon comes on to face Martin Prado, who, like Nate McLeod, is swinging the bat very well. Prado tonight 2 for 4. He also reached on an error. Martin Prado last week had an enormous week. He had 2 4-hit ball games, George, and was the National League Player of the Week.
Well, coming in a tough situation, and this is something Rincon has done very well. Now and again, he's facing a youngster. He's 2 for 4 tonight. Does have an RBI, a couple of singles. But this is where, you know, again, I said it favors the pitcher because he doesn't recognize the stuff. We'll just kind of see what kind of hitter he really is. I know you don't want to get to Anderson, I can tell you that, but he is 0 for 10. Anderson, how about that? That's interesting. Anderson is 0 for 10 against Rincon from Rincon's days as a Twin in the American League.
On the ground is second. The flip to Tulowitzki. Rincon does his job after Embry did his. Well managed, well executed by the Rockies bullpen. It stays tied. First pitch he sees tonight from Tommy Hanson. He rips to the back wall of the bullpen to tie up the ball game at 2. Chris Iannetta with the Rockies trailing by 2. Said, I haven't had a triple all year. Feel like doing some running. He ends up with a 2-run triple to tie the game at 4. Outside the box, brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now, try the mini Buffalo Ranch chicken sandwiches. 3 mini home-style chicken fillets on toasted mini buns. Mike Gonzalez on. And the first pitch to Troy Tulowitzki is in for a strike. 3 lefties down in Bobby Cox's pen, George. Now we've seen them all.
Yep, seen them all. This is the toughest one. Look at the delivery. A little bit of a rock, and he's got his sign. And then when he finally gets in that spot to start this delivery out of the windup, it can be very, very deceptive to hitters. By the way, Lincecum, a no-hitter through 5, a couple of walks. Scoreless streak is now at 28 innings. Wow.
Here's pitches on the days the other teams don't score any runs.
Yeah, he's pretty good. A really odd delivery from Gonzalez.
2-1. Tulowitzki, Ian Stewart on deck, then Chris Iannetta. And hopefully beyond that, Carlos Gonzalez. Houston Street throwing in the Rockies' pen. 5-5, bottom of 8. It's been a good ball game. Tulowitzki fooled. 2-2. Windshield chipped or cracked, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelite.com.
Well, don't be surprised if anybody gets on at all as they work this thing down. that they bring the right-hander in. If they, and again, if this lefty's still in the ball game and it gets to Carlos Gonzalez, you may see Atkins as a pinch hitter. Then if they counter with the right-hander, because it's going to mean there's people on base. If they counter with the right-hander, then he can bring Seth Smith to the plate. Atkins with a bat in the dugout.
Strike 3. And Tulowitzki knew it. Hit the outside corner with a slider.
Well, he did. And again, there's not a lot of movement on this pitch. It's actually home, to be honest with you, folks. I mean, trying to drop it down here into this area, you see where the pitch is. It caught plenty of the plate, but yet not in a direction where McCann wanted it.
So Ian Stewart will take his turn. Stewart, 2-run home run, walk, and a walk. He scored 2 runs tonight. That's high. The league hitting just .227 against the former Pirate Mike Gonzalez.
Well, you watch Gonzalez's delivery. You're kind of thinking to yourself with this rock, all that is all about timing. Because even when he rocks right there, you can tell that he reaches that balance point in his delivery. So it's not any different than, I'll go way back to Luis Tiant with the big turn all the way around. But before he came to the plate, he was balanced over the rubber. And so this really doesn't limit Gonzalez to anything that he could do with a baseball. The only thing may bother him a little bit is if the drop-off's too much to the third base side from where he positions himself. So you're going to see a lot of rocking here. This is all back and forth, back and forth. That's all timing. And then right there, see right here? Very balanced. Everything's balanced on that back foot.
3-1 fouled off.
I think the one thing that you know, watching him as a former pitcher and a guy that teaches pitching through the wintertime, I would like to see him stay more on line, because a lot of times what you do is you get here with the pitch and then the body rotates off, and then the arm will work under the slider versus keeping his direction straight at the plate. See how he fell off all the way over here? I mean, really well over to them.
He went to the slider and he missed. Third walk in a row for Ian Stewart. So the Rockies have the go-ahead run at first base and Chris Iannetta.
Let me watch what I'm talking about on his delivery here as he comes through to the plate. Staying on line here would be right here. So we'll just leave that in. You go ahead and make your decision and kind of see how that fell completely offline, away from where he needed to be going.
Iannetta's had a nice night at the plate. Triple and a single in 3 opportunities. 2 RBIs. And that hit him. Iannetta just stood his ground, first and second. Carlos Gonzalez is coming up.
Here's a look at this again. Fastball. Iannetta can anticipate it coming. He just kind of jumping back, takes it right on the shin. Tracy going, got him.
Yeah, you've heard it from Little League on up. Take one for the team. That's taking one for the team, and it forces Stewart into scoring position. Gonzalez 0 for 3. Garrett Atkins has come out in the on-deck circle. That pitch is in there for a strike. Carlos is at bats the last few ball games. He's shown more patience. He's had much better results. 3 hits yesterday, single, double, and a triple.
Now the Rockies bench still pretty full. When you look at Quintanilla and Smith from the left side, you have Atkins and Torrealba from the right side you could go to. I thought maybe Jim Tracy might go to Atkins here. If they bring in the right-hander, you could always flip to Smith to go right back against that right-hander. Force Bobby Cox's hand a little bit.
I think part of this, George, tell me if you agree, is looking long-term. This kid's going to be out there 5-6 days a week. He wants to show confidence in it because he's swinging the bat better.
I think I'm not going to agree with you totally on it, because I'll be honest, the way he's managed to win every single ball game and not worry about feeling. But he has performed better, so give him a shot here because it's July. If you're in August or September and he's still performing at 228, he's probably not hitting at the plate.
Fair enough. Well, I think Jim here has given him an opportunity. And he keeps Seth Smith back. And he also knows that this is it for left-handers for Atlanta.
That's kind of the reason I thought maybe they might force the hand to make him go get the right-hander out of the bullpen.
Line drive, foul. Oh, that got everybody in this great Thursday night crowd on their feet.
Now, off of the bat, you can tell this ball had a chance, and then just right there at the last second, shoots over Joe West's head.
Stewart's got pretty good speed at second base. 1-2 on Gonzalez. Slider count. And he just did get a piece of it.
Here's the Hyundai cam, just barely not hung on. You can see that. That's a lot of luck involved for a catcher to hang on to a foul tip.
Boy, you know what, George? See the crouch? That's a pitch. Again, I've said this a few times with Carlos Gonzalez. A few days ago, he's in the dugout.
He would have chased. Success breeds confidence. Confidence, again, turns around and gives you a little bit of success and the knowledge of what you think you're going to do at a plate. That ball totally off the plate.
This is popped up behind third base. The shortstop, Hernandez, will make the catch. And now it'll be left to Garrett Atkins.
One for 5 as a pinch hitter this year for Garrett Atkins. He's yet to drive in a run with that base hit. Get an opportunity here. Average at 224, 6 home runs, 25 RBIs.
So Atkins with 2 aboard in a 5-5 game in the 8th. Fowler's on deck as Gonzalez came very close to plunking Atkins. Even or ahead at home, you typically get the closer. Houston Street is warm down in the Rockies bullpen. Atkins, George, it looked like he was taken all the way.
Well, he got fooled by the pitch a little bit too. A 78-mile-an-hour slider. You got a big body action from Gonzalez, a big high leg kick, and then the arm speed coming at it. Plus, that's pretty nasty. When you look at that from that replay from center field, a big-time hook to it.
2-1. Atkins swung the bat well on the Rockies' last road trip. He was 8 for 20 with a home run. Hitting .274 against lefties, just .196 against righties. Here's the 2-1. That's in there.
Well, a big hook. I mean, he just put it right where he wanted to put it on the inner half, but he started it so far outside of the plate and then just dropped it in. It's so hard for a hitter to go ahead and try to commit to the thing because you know it's diving in on you. It's got a lot of less velocity on it. It was at 79 with the last one.
I assume we'll go back to it. Here's the 2-2. He does, and it's ripped out. Four ball. Here comes the go-ahead run, and he's Stewart. And that is going to get a green light. And he's score. Gary Atkins coming through. 2-run, 8th-inning double. 7-5 Colorado. The forgotten man, Garrett Atkins, ripping a 2-2 pitch down the line.
Yeah, this is a big part of this ball club if he's going to do it. And this is on a breaking ball. You can see it move, but didn't have the down tilt to it as much as it did a side tilt. Atkins just ripped it right down the left field line. A shot right by the third baseman, Prado. And not to say the chipper would have had it, but late in the game, a little surprised he was that far off of the line, throwing a breaking ball to a right-handed hitter. Both runs score. Stewart, then Iannetta. The Rockies jump out in front of this 7-5 with their closer warming up. Bobby's going to the bullpen. He's going to get the right-hander to come in and face Dexter Fowler.
First ribbies for Garrett Atkins since June 26. Maybe his 2 biggest runs batted in of the year. 7-5 Colorado. Yeah, you can break out a smile, Garrett.
Tacos!
Colorado on the 2-run double by Garrett Atkins. And tacos for everybody tomorrow. Participating Colorado Taco Bell locations between 4 and 6. 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. As the Rockies hit that magic number of 7. First pitch is in there for a strike to Dexter Fowler. Chris Medlin, the new pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Outside 1-1. Dexter tonight 2 for 4. Rockies producing these runs with 2 outs. 10th ball game for Medlin.
29 strikeouts in those 28 innings. Bobby Cox hoping to get a strikeout here.
Late ball games, George. Tight ball games. We always talk about clutch hits, clutch at bats. Garrett Atkins been a disappointing year. He was a starter for more than 2 months and well below his nearly 300 career average. This is pulled foul. And then he loses the everyday job to Ian Stewart. All kinds of trade rumors surrounding Garrett Atkins. It has been his most difficult big league season. But he stepped up here in the 8th inning, and after looking at 2 sliders for strikes, he got a 3rd one, and he ripped it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, you make pitchers pay for the mistakes. And I thought that Gonzalez made a mistake. I thought that slider stayed up and Atkins stayed on. The other 2 had better downward tilt to the baseball, breaking down and in and coming far from the left side. And Garrett just stayed right on top of the ball and wasn't fooled by the pitch at all.
Three and 2 on Dexter. High, ball 4. Rockies may not be done yet. Here comes Clint Barmas. He's had a big night.
Medlin's a kid that they brought up before they brought up Tommy Hanson to start. And he didn't pitch well in the rotation after 3 starts. They brought Hansen up, put him bound into the bullpen because they like his arm.
Flint Barmes, 2 doubles and an RBI tonight as he takes a strike. 2 for 4. Barmes' average at 289. A year ago he hit 290. Last year he had 11 home runs. He's already got 10 before the All-Star break. And a slow roller to third. And a good play by Prado. In the inning, the Rockies get 1 hit, but it was a huge one from Garrett Atkins, his second pinch hit of the year. A 2-run double. And the Rockies carry a 7-5 lead in the 9th. Houston Street time when we come back. Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is ready when you are. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. By Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Tough Shed Storage Buildings and Garages. Call 1-800-BY-TOUGH or visit them online at toughshed.com. And by Mike Shaw, Chevy, Saab, Colorado's crossover and SUV headquarters for 50 years. Visit MikeShawAuto.com. 30,000 plus in attendance tonight. The Rockies leading 7-5. Time to take it to the street. And also time to visit with Tom Helmer, a preview of the postgame report.
We're taking it to the people, Drew. We're going to talk about in a pinch hitting by the Rockies tonight. Garrett Atkins comes through. We'll break that down for you. Also, stealing the show. We'll talk about Dexter Fowler, what makes him so good at stealing bases. And, of course, we'll get you into the clubhouse here from the Rockies after the game. It's the only place you can hear from the Rockies, right here on FSN Rocky Mountain on the Rockies postgame report. Drew?
We will absolutely look forward to that, Tom. Thank you. First things first. Houston Street, 41st appearance. He has saved 21 out of 22. And he's going to face the thick part of the lineup for Atlanta.
Garrett Anderson has struggled against him, 2 for 13 in his career. McCann has a couple of hits against him in his career, but first things first, and that's the one thing that he has done such a fabulous job on, talking about Houston Street, being able to get the leadoff out. And you could do that starting an inning. Just that much more tremendous. Fastball at 93 on the outside half of the plate.
And Houston Street, George, has retired 78% of first batters, 31 of 40.
Well, that's what you're looking for what Houston Street has been able to do.
That is the best on the club, as I say that, of guys that have pitched meaningful innings out of the bullpen. Josh Fogg a little bit better, but Fogg obviously doesn't have the number of innings. He's not going to get the leadoff man here. It's a double for Garrett Anderson. And now the tying run comes up in Brian McCann, who can hit the long ball. He's got 8 of them.
Don't worry about your runner at second base. Worry about getting an out right now. Garrett Anderson, just his second hit against Houston Street. That's what you want. Go ahead, pull the ball. That's one run, but that's one big out.
That's an enormous out. I mean, Brian McCann, the toughest out in their lineup, obviously a threat to hit the ball over the wall. So there's one out. Anderson to third. How big was that double by Atkins that not only obviously drove in the go-ahead run, but allowed Chris Iannetta to score from first base, a little insurance.
Well, and for him to score, but again, give a lot of credit too to Dower, the third base coach, Richie Dower, for just sending him. You know, Garrett Anderson's arm is about average, maybe a little below average, getting over into the corner to get to the baseball. 94 with that heater. 21 saves for Street, is third best in the National League.
You're a little surprised Matt Diaz doesn't get a shot here?
I'm very surprised, to be very honest with you. I mean, with the batting average, the number of at-bats, a 130 average, something at the wall, no. He's got one home run and one RBI. I mean, this kid hasn't got a lot of at-bats that's at the plate right now. Like I said, when they lost Escobar out of that lineup, it was a while back, but when they lost him, I mean, they lost a big bat. Escobar had a double in the game. Triple, excuse me, and drove in a run.
George, Matt Diaz has really swung the bat well. Good slider. 1 and 2 on Diori Hernandez. This is his third at bat since coming in for the injured Yunel Escobar, who has a lower back strain.
Big slider. It gets right out to the very end of this, but what sets it all up was the ability to throw that fastball away for a strike at 94.
The 2-run lead, the infield naturally is back, and a good job by Iannetta.
Just tried to overthrow the slider, tried to make it too good, and just carried it into the dirt. Still a little bit of surprise that, you know, when I looked at the all-star closers that made the team, the Street, not a lot of consideration to be on that. I thought, you know, his numbers better, actually, than I thought, than Rodriguez's numbers with the New York Mets, and he's on.
Here's the 2-2. Cued, and Street is going to run to the bag and set. The run will score. Todd Helton got out of the way. There's the second out. So Hernandez gets an RBI, but most importantly, there are 2 outs and nobody on as Casey Kochman comes up. Kochman tonight 1 for 3 and a walk. He's never developed the power that the Angels thought he would when he came up in their organization.
Well, really,
pitch misses, ball 1.
The trade really affected him personally. I mentioned earlier his dad, a scout on the West Coast, also now coaches the team in Orem, which is their low Class A team. So I mean, kind of that family thing, and it really surprised Kochman when he got moved.
That's in there at 93, 1-1. This has been an entertaining game. The Rockies have played from behind throughout. Trailed 2-0 at the end of 2, 4-2 in the middle of the 4th. That's there also.
Kochman didn't like the call. He had a couple of words for the home plate umpire, Rob Drake, after the call.
So he took a walk. Now he's ready to go again.
I can tell you right now, in the old days, you do that to an umpire, regardless of what inning you're in. If the next one's close, you're going home, boys. It's over.
Here's the 1-2 from Houston Street. Fouled off.
Really got on top and drove that fastball, the hardest I've seen in a while, 95. Arm day stayed out, it extended away from the body, up on top, and really drove it with his delivery. And then it had a little bit of late bore on it right there, moving away from Kochman. He put it up in the seats.
Slider down and in, George.
Well, you know what? I just got to stay away from the power and not run the risk of changing up, and all of a sudden you leave something up in the zone.
Come back, the Streets got it. Rockies win it 7-6. They come from behind, and they make it 4 straight wins. And they improve to 5-2 on this homestand leading into the All-Star break. Garrett